going to just put that on and do start as how we usually start. We've given thanks to our ancestors, and that's it. We give thanks to our ancestors who was taken from our shores of as I said, of Africa, and taken around and dotted around the whole world. And I give thanks to their tenacity and the fact that they survived. And they managed to, as I said, they managed to get through, which means that we are here. So I give thanks to the tenacity of our ancestors, those ancestors. I also give thanks to the heroes amongst our midst, the ones that have fought, spoken, pulled out, died, but left a legacy that for us to follow. So I give thanks to all of those ancestors, those leaders who sort of like led the path for us to sort of to fight back, for us to stand up, for us to speak our truths and speak what we need to tell others. So I give thanks for those ancestors, all those names that we know and all the names that we don't know, and all the ones that we would never know. I give thanks to them.
Okay.
I also give thanks to all of our ancestors whose heads and shoulders who we stand upon, my ancestors, your ancestor line. We give thanks to all the good, as I should say, the good ancestors. And they're there to help us and guide us, and they have been guiding us. And we mustn't forget that we can ask for help and ask for their guidance. So with that, let their messages, when we ask for help, be as clear as this water, so that we actually can hear and heed and be put on the right path. Ashe.
Sure.
And also I give thanks to the Most High for creating everything, including us. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Okay.
Royston, would you like to?
So greetings and welcome everyone, and I'm in usual protocol that to keep yourself on mute whilst the presentation's going on, and you may want to put a comment or a question in chat, or when presentations finish you may want to ask a question out loud. That's welcome. And yeah, so that's all I'll say, and look forward to this evening, and thank you for your presence.
Thank you. We're going to start with Jake. You're going to be our first presentation, but before you start, Jake, I'm going to, well, those who don't know, have your pens and your papers ready for any questions.
Can I just interrupt a second? Jake, I sent you a chat message. Can you have a look at it, please?
I've got that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, please, Auntie G.
For those who don't know, make sure you have some pens and your paper with you to write down your questions that may come up during the presentation, so that you can ask your questions after. Okay, and make sure you've got a bit of water with you for hydration as well. So, Jake Ferguson, who's going to be speaking out, I almost forgot. Black Men for Change Agenda. The screen is now yours. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Auntie Jean, and to Royston for inviting me for my inaugural Garvey Village experience. And it's so lovely to see so many beautiful faces. I'm slowly learning about my own history. So just a little bit of background about my background. I'm 47 now, something like that. I have a lovely family, wife, 2 kids. We recently did the whole DNA test thing to try and understand and show my kids where their ancestry was from, and we realised that my dad had always said we were Ghanaian, but actually it turns out we were of Nigerian background predominantly. But my dad is Belizean. Not many Belizeans in London. For those that don't know Belize, it's the small country underneath Mexico, and is considered part of the Caribbean, and became independent in, I think, in 81. And I remember when I was at school, I'm from the north of England, so I was probably one of 3 black families in the whole town. And I remember at school, the head teacher bringing me up to the front, and she was sort of trying to show me off. But now I look back in time and I see with different eyes, and I thought, well, what she was saying was that here we have this young man who's come all the way from Belize, look at him. But the way it was presented, it made me feel different. And I'm sure many of you are have come up, brought up in London, but if you're from the north, where I'm from, you're seen as a novelty. So that was always difficult for me to understand. Why were people looking at me different and all this sort of stuff? But I think a lot of those early experiences fuel you in later life. And I think what it did do was give me a very early introduction to to what oppression really is and what racism really is. Because up north it was very overt, whereas now I think racism is a lot more covert and a lot harder to necessarily see. But anyway, what I'm going to do is to take you through a bit of a PowerPoint presentation. I'll try not to send you to sleep, Royston. But if anybody's got any questions as I'm going along, feel free to drop something in the chat, or say, hang on, Jake, can I just stop you about that? Or save your questions till the end, okay? I'm going to have to leave you at about 8 o'clock. Sorry about that, but I've been doing 12-hour days, and I really need to give my family a little bit of time from me. So please don't take offense if I leave at 8. I would like to come back at another time. So I'm going to now share my screen. Hopefully this is all going to work seamlessly. Okay. Start. Show. Okay. So Royston's asked me to talk about this thing called Black Men for Change. Most of you probably won't have heard of it because we haven't officially launched. But as the picture and the text suggests, this is a space for black men, young and old, to talk about the issues we care about. And I'll tell you a bit more about our philosophy in a moment. But it's very much a family. Some of you may well be saying, well, why aren't women involved? Well, women are part of our family too, but we are creating that space because we felt there wasn't a space for men to talk about how we see the world and what we need to do together, because so many, my experience of networks of black community organizations are that they're often quite fragmented, and there isn't necessarily enough time spent on building trustful relationships. So people were really asking me, can we do something? Can we pull something together? So I'll tell you a bit more about our journey in a second. So my name's Jake Ferguson. I'm the Chief Executive of Hackney CVS. As Royston said right at the beginning, I've been there nearly 20 years, my 19th year this year. And I'm now the chair of Black Men for Change, but very much will be handing over to the next chair whenever that moment happens. I see my key role as a facilitator, a convener of like minds. So I'm all about ethical leadership, and I think that's been core to the principles of Black Men for Change. It's about us trusting each other as black men to work together rather than fight, because there aren't enough of us working together in the same spaces. We need to be united to take on the powerful forces that work against us in this country. So throughout my career, I've been interested in how we can ensure communities who are affected by the issues are actually in the driving seat, have the resources, are around the tables, able to speak truth to power. So I actually started off as a medical student years ago up in Newcastle University. I think I enjoyed myself a bit too much, lost track, lost focus, and realised it really wasn't the thing that I really cared about, because I didn't want to join an institution that was largely white people telling me what to do. And I guess some of my early passion meant that I wasn't really the sort of person you could control very easily. So I decided to take a different course. I ended up in Manchester doing a lot of work in Moss Side. I used to carry my vacutainer, which is how you take blood. I used to take my plastic fruit and veg and help people understand how to live healthier lifestyles, which we know is key if you have diabetes. I then worked in public health in Camden and started at Hackney CVS in 2001. We were a very small team there then. We've now significantly grown. We probably turn over usually about 3 million a year. Most of our projects and programs are partnerships with local grassroots organisations. That's key for me. This isn't about Hackney CVS. It's about how we provide a platform for others to shine. And as many of you will know, the community groups who are closest to the people that they're serving often know what is really needed. And yet people in ivory towers are the ones with the big salaries who make all the decisions. So most of my work is spent trying to shift that narrative and shift that power structure locally in Hackney. For those that don't know, Hackney on Wednesday night, as a result of pressure from me and a number of other people, recently passed a motion to become an anti-racist borough. So it's worth checking out what's in their statements, because we all know that words are one thing and actions are another. But for me, that's a really significant step. We can use that platform now to talk about race more readily across everyone. And for me, racism is everyone's business. I'm on a number of strategic bodies. So I'm on Sadiq Khan's Violence Reduction Unit Partnership Reference Group, bit of a mouthful that, but that's about rethinking approaches to serious violence. And as you would imagine from the outset, it was all negative, negative, negative. Why are these young people doing this? Why is it affecting certain communities and blah, blah, blah. But what people weren't realizing, and what I introduced into the conversations, was the idea of the state being violent towards African and Caribbean peoples, and actually introducing that into the mindset of people who had no idea or understanding of structural racism. So now they're starting to look at what that really means for them. So I think we are turning a bit of a corner there. I'm also part of this new London Recovery Board, which is also chaired by Sadiq Khan, which is really looking at what have we learned from COVID as a major world pandemic, and what can we do together to make a difference going forward. So I'm obviously articulating for more resources for community groups, more information, more support, those sort of things. As a CVS, I chair the London CVS Directors Network. So there's 29 of us across London boroughs. It's quite a lot of work, it's unpaid, but what's great is that we can share learning with each other, we can share good practice. I've also recently become a trustee of NCVO, which is the National Council for Voluntary Organisations. And as you would imagine, in that board, it's been a purely white board and senior management team for so long, and they need to go through change. So I'm helping them with that change, helping them understand what it means to be culturally competent. And I'm also a musician, and I put spare time in inverted commas because I really don't have that much. So coming back to Black Men for Change, Royston is a member. He was one of the founding members when we first met in June. And as I said, we set it up so that people could talk with each other and form lasting, real, valued relationships. So it's not just oldies like me and Royston, there are younger members as well. And that intergenerational knowledge exchange is so important. As elders, obviously, we have a lot of experience of dealing with these sort of issues, but also the young people have got their own experiences that aren't necessarily the same as ours. And I think being able to have that dialogue has been really, really powerful. And as I said, it's all about changing the narrative from the negative, what are we doing wrong as African, Caribbean heritage people, to what are the assets we've got that society can benefit from. So the idea of this do for self philosophy is at the heart of what we do. And we spent a long time, Royston will know this, a long time investing in talking through relationships, building that trust that perhaps hadn't been there before, or, you know, there'd been old battles that, you know, had stopped people really moving forward together. So we have over 50 members now. It's growing. They're just really the founding members. But once we go live in the next month, we expect to really grow significantly. And we're not just thinking about London. We have a real global, international ethic. So one of the first sort of projects that we're doing is funded by MOPAC, Mayor's Office for Police and Crime. And we pulled together a partnership that was all about supporting young people affected by violence. But rather than saying they shouldn't do what they're doing, they should do something else, we've actually felt that youth leadership, supporting our young men to become leaders, and us training them ethically in what that means, would be a much better approach than trying to do gang intervention work. We've always known that if you give young people the tools, the resources, the support, they will flourish themselves. So that's at the heart of this project. It's a 12-month project. We're actually working in 4 London boroughs, so Waltham Forest, Hackney, Lambeth and Haringey. Hackney CVS is the lead, so, you know, we hold the financial and legal risk, I suppose, contractually, but the real work's done by our partners. So some of you may know some of the organisations, so Black Sox, that's Viva Moon, Lee Jasper, Aspire Education Group, the Village CIC, which is headed up by Paul Reed from the former Black Cultural Archives, Access UK, so that's Nana in Haringey, Jeremy Crook from BTEG, Paul Anderson and Leroy Logan from Voyage Youth, Ken Hines from Communities Against Violence, and Des from Spark to Life, and then Asher, Senator from Code 7 in Brixton, which is a fantastic grassroots project there. So what we're doing, as I said, we want to support young people to become leaders, or ambassadors as we're calling them. So there'll be 84 across those 4 boroughs. We're going to be training them, providing mentoring support, providing role models, but crucially, the young men will be paid, because we can't expect young people to do things for free. We want to give them the ability to have legitimate money in their pocket to feel the value of being a working professional. So they'll be given sessional money to work on the projects they want to work on, that they think will work best with their peers in their communities. So we'll be giving them employment and entrepreneurial support, but ultimately the young people will decide what they want to do and will work as teams. One of the projects we're already talking about is them doing some mixtapes and creative projects across the 4 boroughs using online facilities to do that. It's also about supporting the development of Black Men for Change as a network. So I don't expect you to read this, but it just shows you how we're structuring things. So in the top left here, you've got BTEG they've got a national role model program. So we're using their expertise to match the young people with an appropriate role model. Should any of the people on this call be interested in perhaps becoming one of those, well, just drop me an email at the end. I'll leave my contact details. Black Sox are going to do the actual ethical leadership training. So all 84 young people will get the same training modules, and then there'll be residentials where they'll come together, and hopefully that will break down some of those natural boundaries that can often exist between young people. Our community anchors are the sort of grassroots organisations who will be finding the young men to benefit from this programme, doing individual development plans with each of them, making sure that pastoral cares, that support bubble is around each of the young people. As I mentioned, Paul Reed, who's from Village CIC, he's doing the rites of passage work. So many of you will know organisations like 100 Black Men, West Side, East Side Academy. They've all worked in their own silos to a certain extent. So Paul's actually bringing them all together so that they're actually creating some unity and have got some common standards about what it means to be a rites of passage organisation. We've also got UEL helping evaluate this, because what we don't want to do, and often happens, is you get the money, you do 12 months, and then you stop because there's no more resource. We actually, at all stages, will be learning as we're going along. And the idea is to obviously create a business case for successive years, should we prove that our approach is successful. So what else are we doing? Well, I said we're going to launch our optics, our website, pretty soon. We will be open to other members, and if anyone's interested, finding out more about what it's all about, please do drop me an email. We've been doing a lot of work with City Hall and the Mayor of London, as I said at the outset, getting them to understand what structural racism actually means in the context of serious violence, in the context of trust and confidence in the policing. We had a shocking set of data that we were shown a few weeks ago that showed when serious violence was sort of up here before COVID happens, and literally serious violence has a downward trajectory. So there's less people being injured and hurt and killed, which is fantastic. But that's simply because people haven't been out in the street environment. There hasn't been those encounters. But at the same time as serious violence coming down, which we all welcomed, stop and search was going up. And I had to point out to the mayor, what is going, this looks really sinister, because if serious violence is coming down, you'd expect there to be less stop and search, because you wouldn't need to do it. So what on earth are the Met doing increasing stop and search? We also know from the statistics that over the last 3 years, handcuffing of black people particularly has gone up by 160%. So what's that telling you? And I'm in those spaces and I'm saying, this is child abuse. This is state oppression. We need to get a grip around this. And last week I asked Sadiq Khan to stand together with Cressida Dick, the police commissioner, and apologise and say, you're keen to address structural racism. Declined the offer, but that's not going to stop me. We've got to keep pushing. So I have quite a good relationship with some of the deputy mayors, so I'm able to influence from the sidelines and also directly. One of the things that we are starting to talk about as the Black Men for Change group is creating a new community policing framework, because the existing status quo is not working. There is not monitoring groups in every borough. Some of the safer neighbourhood boards are often people who've been the same old faces, who've either lost touch with communities or haven't got the gravitas to take the police on. So we're talking about a whole new system of police accountability that is led by black communities. We're just starting to explore what that might be, but I would imagine, Royston, some of your colleagues in Garvey Village may have or want to get involved with that. It's been headed up by Lee Jasper, who's got 30 years of working in this space. So we're currently looking for resources to get that kick-started. And we've basically said to the police, we're going to do this with or without you. We suggest you join us, but if you don't, doesn't matter, we'll get on with it. We're also linked to other things like this thing called the Open Minds Alliance, which will be launching soon, which is focused on supporting young people's mental health and using a digital platform that they control to help them with that. And then we're also looking at building some new corporate relationships to secure investment for the work of Black Men for Change members themselves. And we've got some interesting chats with PwC and our Royal Bank of Scotland in the coming weeks. Then finally, we do a whole load of other stuff at Hackney CVS. One of the things I'm really proud about is the youth, what's called the Youth IIG, that they've named themselves Hackney Account. So a group of young people hold a Met to account locally in Hackney. These are some of the guys there. If you get a moment, look at what they're doing. It is really impressive. Great to see young people professionally holding the Met to account, shaming the Met. I mean, young people did a presentation to the local borough commander a few weeks ago following an incident in which a young man in Hackney was held down, handcuffed face down, and the usual knee on the neck. And the young people did this fantastic presentation and suggested that the Met should use a policy called BUS. You may have heard of it, Best Use of Stop and Search. The local borough commander never heard of it. So that shows you the level of ignorance within the Met at a senior level about what good policing looks like. So the fight goes on, but these young people are really at the forefront of that fight, and I just want to applaud them. So if you do get a chance, go to accounthackney.org and send them a message. Send them some sort of, guys, you're doing a great job, keep it up, because they really value getting that support from the elders. So I'm going to stop there. Do you have any questions? I'm sure you've got loads. I'll unshare my screen as well so we can all see each other. There you go.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you. Has anybody got any questions? Because you give us a lot of information there, and there's a lot of good works that you're actually doing. And as I said, we need that kind of work needs more help.
Definitely. I mean, if people want to connect with me outside this meeting, feel free to drop me an email. I do get 300 a day, so I might not be able to respond straight away, but I can often link people to other initiatives and sort of got a bit of a bird's eye view about what's happening, certainly in Hackney and then other boroughs as well occasionally. So, you know, I'm sure you're doing brilliant community work as well, and I'd love to help you specifically if you're in Hackney as well.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We'll travel up there. I think I met you once when I went up with the Sisters Space.
Oh yes, yes.
So
long time ago.
Yeah, remember your face.
So we've been doing a lot of support to Sister Space over the years, and they're a fantastic local organisation, but they, you know, got some real challenges at the minute. And as I was saying before the meeting kicked off, I spoke to the Deputy Mayor of Hackney today to say they need to find a compromise because they will not win the media war, because frankly Hackney Council is not necessarily looking too good at the minute, and if they're not focusing on black women's needs around domestic violence, what the hell are they doing? So put some pressure on there now, and I think we're getting closer to a resolution.
Good, good.
Okay.
Is it Marlene? Who's that? Who's raised their hand?
It's got no name. It's just a number.
You're not a prisoner, you know. You're muted.
I'm a free man.
Hello, can you hear me?
Is it Marlene?
Yes, it is. Sorry, I don't know what happened where my name's gone.
I'll give you your name back.
Okay.
Go on, what's your question?
Okay, I wanted to ask, you mentioned about people offering to mentor. How do they get involved, especially with the COVID that's about? So how would people get involved with it?
Okay, so the people who are doing the mentoring are called Black Training and Enterprise Group, BTEG, and there's a woman called Brianna Cyrus who's doing the coordination of the mentors. But Marlene, if you wanted to drop me an email with your contact details, or if it's somebody else you're speaking on behalf of, they could just drop me an email and then I'll hook you up.
Okay, can you put your email address in the chat?
I certainly will do that now.
Okay. And is it schools that you go into to get these young people to mentor?
No, it's the age group is 16 to 25. So what we're really focused on young people who perhaps are either invisible or for whatever reason in challenging situations. We're really, I mean, I don't like the term roadmen, but we're really talking about young people who are on the fringes of getting caught up in stuff, who need some guidance, support, respect, need to feel valued. So they're the young people that we're focused on. And if you have young people who fit that category in either Lambeth, Haringey, Hackney or Waltham Forest, what we can do is you can sort of drop me a line and I'll connect you with the local organisation that will be the hub for the young people. So in Haringey, it's Access UK and Communities Against Violence. In Hackney, it's Voyage and ourselves, Hackney CVS. In Lambeth, it's Code 7, which some of you may know. And then in Waltham Forest, it's Spark to Life. They're all really experienced at working with young people.
Actually, I used to do mentoring in Hackney with youngsters just before they start secondary school. And after they leave the program, well, the program closed down, they ran out of funding. But after they leave the program, you don't know or hear anything from them. So that's part of the reason why I was interested in where you meet these young people, because this program was actually in the school. So where is it you go and actually get connected to these young people?
Well, the community projects will be doing a lot of outreach. They do anyway. So some of it will be young people who have perhaps dropped out of the system a bit. So, I mean, it's mainly outreach. And what we found that actually it's word of mouth. Once you work with one young person, you create a good outcome. They'll then tell their peers, they'll tell their friends. And then that's how you get to the parts that are hard to reach. So this won't be a thing that we're going to advertise massively, because it's really trying to get to the young men who perhaps maybe don't want people knowing them, seeing them, who are trying to be invisible, but actually are perhaps suffering a bit. So it's getting to those young people that I think is key. But but each of the community projects will have their own ways of reaching out. But word of mouth, I think, is for me the best way.
You know, and Black Men for Change is a link. There's we've got very young men coming through, all ages included in the group. So there's connection there along the way. Sister Doctor, is that a hand?
It is, yes. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Jake, for that presentation. It's always encouraging to hear about initiatives that are working to take care of our young people. I don't think enough of us recognize the responsibility that we have. And if we know about our history, we will recognize that we do have a responsibility. And so enough of what's happening with our young people is actually testimony to our failure, because they didn't bring themselves here and they're not raising themselves. But without going too deeply into it, our journey in this hostile environment has had some of us seduced by systems that tell us they know more about how to take care of our young people than we do. And so we allowed social services and a number of other agencies and governments to get in the way of our relationship with our young people. This isn't new to some people, and I've written about it and I've spoken about it in many places, but I want to applaud you for what you're all doing. I think that it's, in your presentation you said that something about, why women aren't there. I think that women should not be everywhere. I think that men do need to come together and come up with strategies that are through the lens of a man. And so sometimes the sisters need to hold a different space and let the brothers do it and be here if you need us, but on the outside, because we are not men. And no matter what a good job we're doing, trying to do, the brothers need to come forward and do what you need to do. I'm encouraged by some of the names that I hear, because I know some people in the mix are straight talking. They're straight talking, and so they're not going to bow to, the mayor's office and the this office and the that office. Brothers that are actually able to stand up and be on an equal platform. It's very, very encouraging. So what I wanted to do also was to just recognize, you said it would be, you would be perhaps bringing together these very sometimes discrete entities. So we have a lot of good work happening. This initiative is happening, and that initiative is happening, and that initiative is happening. So it would be really good to see that everybody, there is a relationship, it's an informal relationship, but it's good to know that you're speaking in those terms, because sometimes new initiatives act like they're the first, and none are the first, and we stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before. And I think that it's important to recognize that whole Sankofa notion. The roadman, wasteman outreach conversation, you know, it piques my interest because of those labels that are given. But I like when you say that it will be word of mouth. I don't know that it's just going to be word of mouth, because in this day and age, it's now technology. Sometimes there isn't word of mouth, but what there is a social media movement. And so it's more organic. And I think the organic is an African-centered way rather than the Eurocentric, which is, you know, we have outreach programs and we do it in this way and you have to fill in this form. And some of the people who are involved don't look like us, don't understand the reality. And so these so-called roadmen and wastemen are given labels, and they're not seen as young people who need the guidance of older people. Just before I go though, my nephew who's 14, Brother King will know this, was stopped by the police the other day, and he's not a roadman. He was actually on his bike going to a friend's birthday party, and he's 14, and it traumatized him when he was stopped, because, you know, you're hearing these things happening, and you know that that numbers are going down in certain areas because of COVID, but yes, they're increasing the stop and search and all this kind of things. So it's very personal to me. And my 16-year-old niece was stopped today by the police, and she's not a road person. So the brother and the sister both have been interfered with in Brent. It wasn't in Hackney, it was in Brent. So clearly there's something that's going on. If the killings and the exposure are down because of COVID, but the arrests or the stop and search are up, it can't be an accident. Just like miseducation of us is not a mistake. So I want to applaud you and wish you all every support. I know people like Viv and certain people and Lee and Ting will certainly bring firm words and discussions. And I have every confidence, Jake, that you will also not be seduced by those people who may be seeing themselves as your line manager or your funders or your sponsors or your, you know, that's me. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Dr. Sandra, and I agree with that, all that you said. I think just on the issue about funding, you know, we thought very hard about taking money from City Hall, who you could argue are major part of the problem. But we felt that so long as we were able to evaluate what we're doing, we then own the project. There's nobody telling us what to do. And I think we are slowly helping City Hall understand there is a different way of doing all of this. And we have to start from, I always say this when I'm in meetings with the mayor, we have to start from a basis of values, because clearly the way the police are acting means that they do not value people of colour or people of African and Caribbean heritage. The way they treated your niece and nephew, that shows they do not value. And when it happens, we have to call it what it is. It's child abuse.
It is, absolutely.
Abusing children is just not acceptable.
And traumatizing them.
It creates trauma and therefore creates further problems down the line. And we have, unfortunately, in this country, not focused enough. We all have, because we know the issues, but society is not focused enough on state oppression, state violence towards black people. That is, you know, the fact that we're, as black men, 3 more times more likely of being sectioned than a white person. You know, what does that say? You know, so we have to look across the whole public sector system and start to talk freely and help these leaders talk freely about racism, because so many times, you know, I've been with the borough commander, this, that and the other, and I've said, look, we need to talk about race, and they say, well, I'm not black, Jake, so how can I talk about race? I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. A lot of the people do not understand the impact that their decisions are making. They see the whole system, we're just numbers that they can move around, do what they like to. They don't see us as having value. And that, for me, is at the heart of the problem. That's why when Black Lives Matter exploded in the States, it took hold here, because people, enough is enough. But we've been doing and saying this stuff for 30 odd years. So what needs to change is some of the mechanisms and levers and the architecture of oppression. So things like the gangs matrix, I'm actually asking the mayor at the moment to rethink that, because for me, it's just a sausage machine that sends young people to, well, not their deaths, but, you know, incarcerates them unnecessarily. And I'm also interested in the economics of this oppression, because when a young person is put in a young offenders institute, that costs £120,000 a year.
I'm going to, Jay, King, I know you're going to stop us because you have other presentations to make, but I just wanted to jump in very quickly because Jake is going to go at 8. And I just wanted to say that I haven't got an issue with taking money. I think reparations is, you know, I'm very clear. They should give money. I think the organization shouldn't rely on it, but this is not money that they're giving us. This is money that they owe us. So reparations, I think, is really important. Socioeconomics is key, and we have been seen as chattel. Let's just call it what it is. I think sometimes, I mean, maybe you can't do it, but polite conversations. This is not new. African people have been seen as less than human, and we drive a labor force, and prisons are an industry. The mental health system is an industry. Money is being made. So I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to mute my own self.
Well, as I said, I couldn't agree with you more, Sandra, and superbly said, more eloquent than I could put it. Any other questions?
I just want to add, it's Patricia. It's really valuable what you're attempting to do, but my experience from local authorities is that they will allow you a certain amount of money to do a project for maybe 12 months, and then suddenly, you know, people get reallocated and money can't be found. So I'm really, you know, just stressing the importance of identifying funds that would enable the project to continue, because it's so needed.
Thanks, Patricia. Well, I'm already talking to the director of the Violence Reduction Unit. She's already reached out to me to talk about year 2, so we're in a good position in that respect.
Great.
The other thing is, the other thing I'm working on, and it's very, very hot off the press, is that I'm co-chairing with somebody called David Weaver, who's the chair of Black Psychotherapists in the UK. I'm co-chairing with him a new project that's going to ideally create a foundation for, well, I'm saying Black and ethnic minority voluntary and community organisations, so that we can generate our own money, actually. And I think that's key, because yes, we can take state money, we can feel that we're reliant on that, but that for me comes with its challenges, as others have mentioned. So the idea is to provide a vehicle by which some of these big corporations can donate, but also from within our own communities as well. And I think that is so important. We need to value ourselves and put money into our own community initiatives.
Just going back to, Clive, I see your hand. Just going back to the Met, it is said that Steve House, her deputy, who was, for whatever reason, was chased out of Strathclyde, you know, for his over-the-top methods, is now the deputy in London, and he's driving this agenda. So with him driving this brutal agenda in London, and with, you know, Cressida saying institutional racism don't exist in the Met, it doesn't look good in terms of what the prospect looks for us. And there was some muted sound about, you know, having a petition to have Cressida removed, you know, and I'm wondering whether that should gather some momentum, you know, because the mayor makes the appointment to the mayor to actually look to have her and the deputy ousted from London, because it's a travesty what's going on right now.
I think Royston should be stepping down soon anyway, is what my understanding, because these guys, you know, they'll only do so many years in the job, and then they get moved to the cushy, you know, desk job. So I think she'll be stepping down soon anyway. However, what we don't want is Steve House stepping up.
That would make it worse, not better.
The other thing to be mindful of is that, you know, you'd expect the mayor of London to have some control over the Met. He does control their budget, and I've been talking to him about considering defunding the police. It's a scary term to a lot of these guys, but if you see the police as a business and therefore it should be delivering for its customers, well, we're not getting a very good deal. So actually, if it was a business, they would be showering us with vouchers and trying to entice us back to their company. But the converse is happening. So for me, that is a very perverse situation we find ourselves in. But I've been saying very clearly to the mayor, if they're not going to deliver for us, you should take the money off them, because without the money, they can't do all that stop and search. They can't do the Operation Trident. They can't fund these territorial support group units and violence suppression units, as they're now called. I mean, you know, this is stuff of Hollywood nightmares, but it's real. So the more that we can work together to expose them, the better.
All right, Clive Morrison, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'd just like to know as to where, Jake, you're based. Do you have any link in Enfield? I apologise, I joined late. I only heard mention of youth.
Unfortunately, so, Clive, I'm in Hackney. I've been in Hackney 19 years, so we're the umbrella body for charities in Hackney, although the project I've been talking about is in 4 boroughs: Hackney, Hackney, Waltham Forest, Lambeth, and Haringey. Have I said that twice?
Haringey, Hackney, Lambeth, and Waltham Forest.
Okay, so why not Enfield? We're neighbours to Haringey.
You've got to start somewhere, brother.
Okay.
I know what you're saying, Clive. I mean, you will be welcome to join the network and start, you know, help us expand as we grow.
Yeah, well, I'll be happy, obviously. I know that there are other youth organisations within Enfield, but I myself, I mean, I go back so far to 91, where I first linked up with Lee Jasper. So reinventing the wheel is always a means of just kicking the can down the road. But obviously, if you are already in the mayor's office, then it's important that we can network and I can bring to the table my life experience.
I'll do whatever I can to help you network, Clive, if you're...
Okay. Sorry for being late, but I only got the gist of what you were saying. But I know it's important. Once we come out of this COVID...
Clive, thank you. The impact of being late means that you end up repeating things that has been discussed. So thank you. I hear you, brother.
But Royston, please share my...
happy to do that.
People,
Happy to do
thanks for that. Yep, thanks.
All right. Auntie Jean, I want to just, if I may, just say something in closing.
Okay.
So I started saying it in the beginning, you kind of silenced me then, Jake. I love the fact that you said us older men. I've got a son or sons who are around about your age, so I'll take that compliment very much and thank you. But actually, in terms of you as a significant brother doing some significant work in London, and you know, you're 47 now, you've been doing this for 19 years. So at the delicate age of 27, 28, you actually started doing this work. And I've watched you through the years, step by step, you know, you have not put a foot wrong. You have just continued to grow in stature. You have the respect of the mayor and those in Hackney, as well as the mayor and those in the central office in London. So you are just phenomenal, my brother. And I just want to say thank you for all that you have done and that you are doing. And, you know, you are one of our unsung heroes, you know, and, you know, to be celebrated. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, Royston, thanks for those kind words. For people that know me, I'm a pretty humble guy, and I work for you. I call myself a community servant. That's
why I said it.
I don't care if I never get praise. what I do know is that I can sleep well at night. I sleep hard because I only sleep 4 hours because I'm usually pretty busy. But it's an absolute honour to be at work with people like yourselves. I think I saw Devon White maybe on the call, if he is Devon. Worked with Devon 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, the pleasure is all mine. And you know, I'd love to come back maybe in 6 months or sooner once we've got some more good news to share. And if anybody does want to link with me offline and you need some support with something, either I'll be able to help or I'll definitely know somebody who can help.
Thank you.
So thanks so much for inviting me. Blessings to you all. Stay safe and have a lovely discussion.
See you next time. See you soon.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you. Thank you for all your words. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well done.
With that, we've had just a slight change with presentations. We're going to move on to Olayomi. And Olayomi is going to be speaking about the Yoruba people. But I must make my apologies. It was my fault why some people didn't get in, because I put Zoom instead of Zoom. So I just checked back after Patricia. So thank you, Patricia, as well. So I was able to sort of like correct my mistake and quickly send it all out. So thank you for that. And we can also, an announcement, Olayomi has kindly is letting this go out live also on, was it YouTube or was it Facebook? Well, he will get that clear, but he's put that out.
Facebook.
Is it Facebook? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Olayomi, thank you very much. The screen is now yours, and welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone. I won't take much of our time this evening. I've enjoyed the first speaker. As I said, my name is Olayomi Koiki, a proud Yoruba man from the Yoruba land. Also a media consultant. Worked in the media section of the part of the professional side of things. I'm also a radio presenter with Star Radio UK, where I've been talking about so many issues affecting our community as it's known here in United Kingdom and outside as well. A lot of people must have said we are Nigerians. I will prove a little bit tonight that we are not Nigerians. It's just a name that was mixed together by the colonial masters, and we must go back to the record and the history to know who we are as a people, because history has been doctored for a very long time, and the next generation might not know this. Like I did say, I'm also the founder and the CEO of Koiki Media, and I've been using that again to engage not just within the community, but also outside my community. And I would like to say a very big thank you to my brother, Galactic Clyde. We've been together for over a decade, working together behind the scene. And I say thank you very much to Auntie Jenny that I've also worked very, very close. I might not be able to have respond so much on the WhatsApp group, but I can assure you that I do read everything, no matter how late, and I do follow everything happening in there. So like I said, let me go straight into it. I don't have anything to present in terms of screen, but I will only talk from the little I know, and I'm still learning as well, because like I said, every day you learn, and just less than 3 months ago, I've always, I was born in Nigeria, so that let's get that straight, and I came here just about 21 years ago. We've always believed that a country like Nigeria, the 6th largest oil producer in the world, also a country that has vast amount of natural resources. But again, 60 years of mystery, 60 years of failure, 60 years of nothing literally working for humanity. And someone like me, I've always advocate for humanity, because humanity means as long as my dad always said that I never met, the neighbor must be able to eat in as much as you in your own house is having something to eat. Why have I gone back to say I am no longer a Nigerian, even though I still have the passport, but I have been advocating. I don't want to use the word agitating, because I believe, like I did mention, the history has been dotted as people that we have history. 10,000 years Yoruba people have been in existence. We've been trading before the colonial master came in. We have our own ways of doing things. When I talk about doing things administrative wise, you know, the women and all the culture that you can think of. When the colonial master came, you know, I believe our great grandfathers fought as much as they could, but unfortunately, I'm sure across the globe, just like the colonial master, have done so much damage that we are trying to fix again. And just to move it forward, I did mention we are 10,000 years. So that means, you know, if you look back and ask if we as, I mean, Yoruba people, that we are more than 60 million now mixed together with other tribe within Nigeria, as it's called. Nigeria was a name that was given to us by Lord Lugard Girlfriend. I'm sure his spirit will not sleep well, because he has created a problem that we are still trying to fix that problem to date. A lot of people might not know that Yoruba people were the first within not just Africa to set up televisions before France. You know, before France had television, we already set up television. But today, you might not even understand the kind of damage that people cannot have 3 square meals, not to talk of electricity that we are enjoying today. Again, why have I joined, you know, that movement? I believe if I've been working tirelessly to what I was doing prior to that, I now understand much better. I am still learning. I don't know everything, but what I know is we can't continue to deceive ourselves when the minority is literally taking over a country that we call Nigeria. Nigeria is a fraud. Nigeria was set up by the colonial master for their own benefit. Nigeria is just a geographical location. And a lot of people might be surprised when I'm saying this, because like I said, the history that has been dotted, they literally took off history, you know, from the curriculum up to date that we now started fighting about. Now moving forward, how do we now have our own independent and self-determination nation? That is what I am working towards. It doesn't matter how long, you know, this will last, but one thing I believe is we must start it now. A lot of people will say the Yorubas, as we are called, the Yorubas, we have the Igbo, we have the Hausa, but 3 tribes interlocked together as at 1914 amalgamation. We have literally expired that at 2014. It was a pilot test, just I'm sure a lot of project that is done across the globe. People give it a try and decide whether it works or not. Sometimes you go into a marriage, as much as we want to keep the union, but sometimes things fall apart. But this was a marriage. The purpose of that bringing us together was because the northern part of the country that we're not ready, as at the time we were going into independence in 1960, we had those that were burning fire as at the time. The fire in them was we wanted to stand on our own, but the northern part of the country were not ready, and the colonial master, you know, knew that they were not ready. There was an election as at 1959. That election was not just only dotted; it was also used to favor the northern part of the country as against, you know, the southwest. You know, in 1959, the gentleman that revealed this, he passed on in 2007 by the name of Harold Smith, an Englishman. But again, we have looked at the whole history. First and foremost, like I said, the amalgamation that joined us together from the north to the southeast to the southwest was meant to run for 100 years. That has expired in 2014. What are we asking for now? We want a self-determination. We want to stand on our own. UK, as is known, Great Britain, is about total of less than 60 million, population. The Yorubas are not just in Nigeria. We're in Jamaica. We're in Cuba. We're in Brazil. We are literally all over the world. We are more than 60 million. We should be able to stand on our own. I did an interview with a pastor this morning on my program. The vision, he said, was Nigeria will break, whether the government believe in it. I said it yesterday on my platform that even the G8 cannot stop what is coming. It doesn't matter how powerful they are. We will decide who we want to be. They are not going to tell us anymore, and we are not ready to listen to not just the international community that have milked so much out of Nigeria that the country itself as it is cannot feed the population. Again, a country must be able to reflect the people that are inside. That means if as a Yoruba man, I want to go out just the same way, you know, if you go to Germany, you will have to, you know, to learn how to speak German, because they're not going to be interested in the English because they are Germans. I want to be known with my culture, with my tribe. I want to associate myself as the kind of person that we are, rather than the one that has been given to us. This movement is growing. The government initially thought that they were dealing with the Igbo people. Again, is another tribe within Nigeria. We don't have problem with ourselves. I have cousins that have married to the Igbo. We work with the Hausa. But what we are saying is let everybody add over their territory, secure their border. As I said, when I came here in 1998, I came with a visa. I refused to go back 14 years. The immigration refused to renew my status. That means if anybody wants to come when we have our own nation, they have to go through the same process. We are not going to create enemies among ourselves, but the real territory, the real terrorists that we are dealing with are the minority called the Fulani S-men. I mean, the Fulanis. The Fulanis are warriors. They've literally conquered the Hausa, which is the northern part of the country, and they have been the minority controlling the majority for the last 60 years, 60 years of mystery. So why are we now saying all this? We need to kind of allow people to know where we are coming from. As Yoruba people, the government thought they were literally fighting the Igbo people because the Igbo people are no longer interested in Nigeria, just like we are not interested. They want to be on their own. And now they've now been hearing a bigger noise from the outside the country, not just myself. The message is going down. It's going down very fast. The media in Nigeria are so corrupt. They're not interested about this. It's all about selfish interest. And we want to stop that. And part of the first thing we are telling those back home is we, and I say we, not just myself, we will not hold election in 2023. If we can stop that, we will literally shut the country down as quickly as possible and we can save lives. I will stop on that. Like I said, I don't know everything much with my tribe. I'm still learning. But if there's any question that is put to me, I will try and answer it. But again, my name is Olayomi Koiki. I'm literally on part 73 of my agitation that is not just myself, to tell those that have been our elders that we will respect them, but we will not listen to them because they've been talking about restructuring. Restructuring is not going to work for the country. We must go our part, save our lives, and secure our land that has now been sold so much to the Chinese, the Pakistan, the Indian, and that means if care is not taken, Yoruba might be wiped off, and we don't want that to be something that we will allow. And I will hand over back to you, Jenny, and I hope I've not taken much time. Thank you very much.
Fine, thank you very much. I see Wesley, you have your hand up. Would you like to ask a question? Unmute yourself so we can hear.
I'm new to this Zoom, so my apologies. Good afternoon, good evening, Royston, Auntie Jean, everybody else. How are you doing? This is the second time I've used Zoom in my life, so Royston, you've taken me out of my comfort zone. Yes, the gentleman who just spoke. Hold on, let me just get back to him. Is it Koiki? Yes, yeah. Koiki. Yeah. You have to forgive me. I've never used this. I've never done this part of Zoom before, so you got to forgive me.
That's fine.
One of my understandings about the issues in Africa, Koiki, is the oil, and with the Igbo people. From my understanding, a recent letter was sent to the United Nations for the Igbo to withdraw from the African Union, because part of the issue is from the spoils that come from the oil. The Igbo people don't believe that they get a fair share from the Fulani or the what was the other the ruling tribe basically from Nigeria. So they're taking the spoils, and the Igbo people aren't getting a fair share. and what the assumption is now, what this is alluding to, could this be a breakout for hostility in Africa? And if so, what elements are being put in place to govern peace, or to find a mediation way, a way of mediation going forward? Because I think the worst case scenario from where we are around the world following George Floyd and the movement for justice and accountability is for Africa to implode on the global scale, on the global stage.
Well, thank you very much, my brother Wesley. First and foremost, it's not just about the the oil we're talking here now. We're talking about as people of their own tribe. The Igbo people are different to the Yorubas. The Yorubas are different with the Hausas. My language, when I speak it, is different from the Igbo. When I speak my language is different from the Hausa. And like I said, the reason why we've been merged together, this was in 1914, by Lord Lugard. It was meant to be like a pilot scheme because the northern part of the country were not making any money for the, for the colonial master. They were literally losing money. So they decided, let's bring them together and maybe things will work forward. Going back to whether, we will see another influx of, there's already genocide, let me put it that way, inside Nigeria. We call it Location 9. And there's that Location 9 means, if I look at the, the country code, which is 234, 2 + 3 + 4 gives us 9. The embassy here is called number 9, Northumberland. The diplomatic vehicle is number 9. All this is something that was curated by the colonial master. We've worked all that already. Going back to whether if it explode, already it has exploded. There's so much killings on a daily basis. And I'll give you the statistics as at yesterday, when I was reporting back to the studio. Between January up to date, literally 3,000 people have been killed. Just on Wednesday, 5 people were executed at gunpoint by the Boko Haram. Who are the Boko Haram and the Fulani militias? These are not, we have 4 terrorist groups in the world, and you will not understand that 2 of them are literally operating inside Nigeria. The government has not been able to even save the lives of the people inside Nigeria. Is Nigeria going to break? It's going to have a big impact in Africa. We know that already. And that is why we are telling the international community to quickly intervene now before things goes bust. Because if that doesn't happen, yes, there will be instability. But when the instability comes, I believe, freedom doesn't come easy. We would have to do what we have to do. The Fulanis, who are the minority, are ready to attack. We have evidence to all that. They are preparing a war. We are trying to do as many things that we can to make sure that it comes out peacefully. But like I said, there's all options on the table, and we are not, I can say that there's all options on the table. That is something that I will keep to myself. But yes, if we don't get what we want, we will go at any length to get it, because we will not allow them to continue to rule over us come after 2023.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, I've got a question. John.
Okay, John, go ahead.
I was going to say to the gentleman, in my understanding, shall I put the video on? I don't know if I should.
See you.
Huh?
It'd be nice to see you.
Is it on?
No.
I did try to put it on. Oh, there we go. Start my video. There we go. Yeah. So in my understanding, anciently, for Africa, which means defeated land, one of the things I understand that if I am in Britain and I'm the King of England and I have your people, which means all of the minerals in your body that's in the planet, once I have your people, I have your minerals, I have your wealth. Once I have your gold, I have your country. And I can hear the gentleman talking, he's basically discussing identity. But a lot have happened to the point of where he is now, for where Nigeria is, or the whole of Africa, or the Caribbean, or whatever lands it is, everything has been fictionalized. And yes, we as a people have migrated. And those, to me, in my understanding, those are the foundational truth. Once I have your people and your gold, I have your country. And on those grounds, you can't stand as a country utilizing European educational system, European laws, language, none of it, roads, train, the whole lot, because it's all to do with patency. So you can't, and this is where the question, I would beg the question, is it too late?
Okay, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, identity is very, very important. And that's why I said, if we've been existing for 10,000 years and that identity is something that is about to be wiped off, should we allow that to go into extinction, or should we protect it now before it's too late? There's evidence, if you go back to the history of Turkey, Turkey was never a Muslim country. I was there in November, but if you go there today, you're taught and believe that it's always been a Muslim country. The Fulani that are, like I said, I'm immigrant, or people that move from one country to the other, conquering so many parts of the world. And I will use Turkey as an example. Turkey, about 1,700 years ago, was a Christian country, but if you go down there today, it's literally now like a Muslim country. We are not Muslims as people. We are not Christian as people. Yes, we do have, Christians and Muslims among us as Yoruba people. We have our own culture and tradition. Our tradition has been dotted. Our tradition has been used as an evil against us. That means if I call Ifa or Batala and all these our own, and as you can see behind me, the Odudua that I've put behind me there, these are things that have been kind of pushed to one side. When the colonial master came in, they're giving us, the Bible and the Islam, in replacement of what we believe in. I should be able to consult my oracle before I leave my house. Yes, the identity part of it is very important, so that I don't take much time. But yes, we must review all this. There's negotiation going on. As of December, we've been able to register, not myself, there's a lot of think tank. We have, Yorubas that are brilliant across the globe. We've been able to register under the UNPO, which are the Unrepresented People Organization. That means now we can be able to hoist our flag inside Nigeria. They're working on the flag template. That means we can talk directly with ECOWAS and international community. We can present our case to them, and maybe we will go out of this peacefully. As I said, the country is already crumbling, and everybody knows that, even the international community. I'll go back to you, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I interject again?
Yes, go ahead.
I would say, when you talked about anciently, and you said it's not Islam, this solar system, our solar system takes 26,000 years to go around the Milky Way galaxy. Ancient Islam, I self am Lord and Master, is not present day Islam. So one of the guys that you need to understand, the ancient Islam is based on absolute fundamental truth, which is why we organize this planet in 1,000-year-old contracts. Because at the end of its term, it's mass annihilation. And if you had your genetical memories, you will understand that, yes, ancient Islam is African culture because it's based on fundamental truth and is measured against all truths in the galaxy, on this planet, within yourself. So one of the things I would say as you go forward, you need to really consider the fact of those things I've said to you. If I have your gold and if I have your people, you have my land. Once you register something, you give it away. Once you record it, you keep it. Just food for thought. I'm finished.
So I have a question. According to some statistics, it said there are 300 tribes in Nigeria.
You're right, yes.
Yeah, so Yoruba, Fulani, and Igbo make up about 70% of that.
That's correct.
But I can't see a peaceful solution to disaggregating 300 tribes. I have been concerned for too long, and I'm talking about Africa, not just Nigeria, that actually what we've got that fundamentally has created disunity in Africa was a deliberate process. All right, we are struggling with the terminology internalized oppression, whereby the oppressor has set it up that we don't trust each other, that we are looking over our shoulder at each other. And for all these years later, that is still going on. Now, there are some highly intelligent men in Nigeria, and what stops these highly intelligent men sitting around a table saying our history was a construct of European boundaries that was imposed on us? All right, what can we do to bring about unity? You know, when Russia and was a superpower, Russia and America did all of its dirty washing in Africa. One country after another, after another, after another. America sold you arms, Russia sold me arms. We had a fight. You know, we destroyed our country. Then America built one country back, Russia built the other. Today, implant China as the new capitalist that's coming in to divide us. And we are still arguing amongst ourselves. You know, is it not time that we actually sat down as adults round a table, had conversations, and created unity? When I look at you, when I look at the next person, I see a black brother, I see a black sister. I don't see a Yoruba, I don't see a Hausa, I don't see an Igbo, I don't see Major, I don't see a tribe. And that's our history, I get it. But actually, what can we do to create unity to move forward? Together, we are stronger. Together, we are stronger. I'm not liking what I'm hearing, my brother.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I'm not with what you said, Royce, to want the truth. Yeah. For me, I don't know how many different, for want of a better phrase, nations, tribes there are on the continent. But there is, to me, a lot of merit in our indigenous peoples being able to claim and self-determine themselves. Yeah, the fact of being able to assert, for want of a better phrase, nationhood on the basis of a common language and a common culture and a common heritage, particularly when you still have it coherent, you know, after 10,000 plus years, and when, like the brother does say, it's in the Caribbean, it's in the Americas, it's global. There's nothing wrong with those who can do that, as long as I agree with what you're saying, you find the most peaceful way to assert that. One of the things that we have got, and this thing about being black is it's not just a unifying thing, it's also a divisive thing. It's one of the things where we don't remember our languages, we don't remember our spiritualities, we don't remember the distinct cultures that we possess and still have access to. So what I hear with what the Yorubas are doing is saying, we're going to deconstruct what the Europeans did. Yeah, this is one of the first steps I've heard within Africa to say, we're going to deconstruct what you created when you came together in that Berlin thing. We're not operating on that model. Yeah, we're not operating that model. So I support the move to dismantle that model. I know there's a risk, and I accept there's a risk. And I would like, you know, the brother to, not just him, but whoever it is, the elders, the leaders within the community, find a way to move forward as peacefully as possible. And I would like it, my brother, if you would not just blame the Fulanis, yeah? But if you would, you know, for example, the Fulanis are probably dispersed, yeah? So you have to find a way to say, how do you accommodate what might be nomadic groups, what might be groups that live in different ways to the settler communities on the continent. Yeah, so you're going to have to negotiate those things. If we're going to move to a united Africa, we're going to have to figure out those different ways. It's the same thing in whether you're in Ghana or elsewhere. You have different tribal groupings. There's nothing wrong with, to me, reasserting, your indigenous identity. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why so-called white people have so much problem, because they don't know who they are. Yeah, they have no idea who they are. They have no sense of history. Yeah, and they're talking, you know, looking at this country is because you got the Romans invaded, you got these people invaded. They don't know who they are. So to me, it's a positive step as long as you do it in a peaceful, respectful, and a way that heads towards what I hear you saying, Royston, which is a unified Africa, but recognizing the diversity that exists within the continent prior to Europeans, prior to Islam in its current incarnation. Yeah, to me, there's nothing wrong with indigenous Africans asserting their independence. That's what I've got to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I see, Marlene, you have your hand up.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, well, I wanted to say that, am I right in saying that the Boko Haram is funded by the West?
There's evidence to that that they have been funded by the West, and again, it's just to continue to hold the territory. And like I said, we can't continue to have the out of the 4 most dangerous terrorist group in the world, 2 of them are operating, and they are operating openly. And I said openly, where they can get into any community, kill, upload videos, and they've been going on for not just 10 years, they've been going on for some time. The government is aware, they're part of it as well. There's a lot of evidence that we have onto that as well. Yes.
So what can they do to stem that arms, or how are they getting their ammunition into the countries?
Okay, that is interesting. I will tell you, I have a picture of these. This was a 24-year-old combat helicopter pilot, the first in the history of Nigeria, the first in the history of the 55 years of the Nigerian Air Force. Unfortunately, we were told a car reversed onto her at the Nigerian Air Force Base last week, Tuesday. She eventually was killed. We believe so. She was been doing damage to killing of so many of the Boko Haram, but it seems somebody is not happy with the job she's doing. 24 years old. And I said, in the history of Nigeria, 55 years of the Nigerian Air Force. There's a lot of evidence that those that are the Boko Haram, we have people that tell us that some of their leaders that should have been captured, when it gets closer to being captured, call come true to avert that. We are having our military coming out in their hundreds, about 300 resigned about last week, another 350. We've seen them coming out to say they are not just been killed by the same military that they are working with. So it seems, like I said, things are falling apart, but one thing we can quickly do now is to save more lives, is to come out of the contraction called Nigeria. That was, as history, the whole country was sold out. There's nothing called Nigeria. Yes, I can understand a lot of people might get worried in terms of we can secure this now peacefully, and then we can start thinking about, building a nation. People might say, how long is it going to take? I've lived here for 21 years. It won't matter to me anymore. One thing I know is if my mom in her 70s, I've started the process, maybe we could have ended it. If I refuse to do it, I'm 42 years old. That means I'm leaving the baton to my 13-year-old boy to come and take care, which I believe at some point he might not be interested.
Okay, can you make that clear to me? You said that 24-year-old girl, she was trying to do what? She is
the first helicopter combat within the history of Nigeria.
Yeah, I understand that. What was she trying to...
Her job is to go out there to kill when she's using the helicopter Apache to destroy.
Yeah, to kill what? Boko Haram?
No, the Boko Haram. Remember, the Boko Haram are operating in the northeast of the country.
Yeah, so she was sent out there to get rid of them.
To get rid of them. So the question.
So why wasn't there an army sent out there? Why was it just one single pilot?
Well, I mean, the army gets sent out as well, but they get killed more in their droves. Like I said, the military is compromised. The Boko Haram is sponsored, within the government, and it's something that they don't want it to end. It's been going on for decades. I'm sure you've heard about they bring back our girls that were kidnapped. So there's a lot of insecurity in the country, and already there's war as far as we are concerned in the country.
So hold on, the Boko Haram is infiltrated into the government.
It's not infiltrated in the government. They're operating within the country as they're a terrorist group.
So why can't the government do anything about it?
Just told you, the government is part of Boko Haram. The government is not going to do anything.
They are a part of Boko Haram.
They are part of Boko Haram, yes. They're sponsored.
So they're infiltrated in the government.
Yeah.
So if they're infiltrated in the government, there's no easy option to get rid of them, because the government is what run the country, and if Boko Haram is a part of the government, how are you going to get rid of them?
Well, let's see. Let's secure our own side of the border first, then we'll deal with that.
What do you mean secure your own side of the border?
Well, I mean,
you're going to be a different country now.
That's what I'm sure probably you didn't hear all I've been saying when I started the presentation.
So you're trying to have, I know from time they've been trying to have the northern Nigeria and is it northern Nigeria and what's the other side?
There's a north, there's a southeast and the southwest. I am from the southwest. As the Igbo people from the southeast want to leave the country, the southwest also wants to do the same thing and have our own independent country.
And the northern is the one that's got the Boko Haram. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Okay, and they're the one that's got the oil.
No, the southeast has got the oil, but the north have been enjoying the oil more than the other part of the other region.
So if the south if the south have got the oil, how is the north enjoying the oil?
Because they are the one in the government. They've been in the government for 60 years. These are the minority that we are talking about. And they've been in government in the sponsorship of the foreign partners, and Great Britain is number one, and France as well.
So the West is involved. They've put the North involved, and all that is complete chaos.
They gave it to them as far back as in the 60s when they were not even ready, to get independent. I know we don't want to take too much time so that we can get the next presenter in as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. You can always reach out to me. I'll leave my email address. I'm always available. Should we want to get this conversation more engaged, so that we have the next.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hold on. Sister Doctor, did you have a question?
I didn't have a question as such. I just wanted to acknowledge what is happening. What we are here, this conversation is so important, with Marlene asking those questions that maybe a lot of people know the answers to, but it's important to ask the questions. And even your comment, Brother King, about, let's do this by peaceful means. There are some things that cannot be done through peaceful means. And I as uncomfortable as it may make us feel, what we are hearing is from a young blood given a very real perspective to us as a group. I'm not sure how many of us are in the UK, but it just brings home the extent to which there is interference from powers that be, that disrupt and destable, and what needs to be done to fix it. And our brother Koiki is actually, it sounds like a soldier. He sounds like a warrior. And as unusual as a conversation like this might be for many of us, this is a reality for a lot of our family abroad, wrestling with the reality that we get to hear a little bit of. And, Marlene's questioning is good, because it's like, well, how comes this is, how comes? So I just wanted to acknowledge this. It's really important conversations. That was it, really.
Okay. my statement is this. 10 million of us was killed by people that don't look like us. The system continues to annihilate us in various forms. And I don't want us to be turning a gun on each other. That's all I'm saying. I don't want it, not by any means. There's got to be a way. If we're going to live in separate houses, then let's talk about living in separate houses. Don't blow my house up and I blow yours up, because then we both live on the street. That's all I'm saying. Find a way.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, quickly.
Okay, to Koiki, just a very quick question. You mentioned that he would like the international, maybe the international world to step in or something. And I was just wondering, as international, where is he talking about? Because America and England is not going to be stepping in a positive way for Africa.
Well, and that's why I said what we are doing now is waking the minds of those around the globe that are Yoruba. The movement is already moving. It's moving at a very fast speed. I'm going to wake the minds up across the globe. And when I say I, as much as I'm working with different groups, I am working on my own as much as I can. We're doing that already. If we can stop the election coming in 2023, that will be the first signal. If the world is not going to stop it now, when we don't vote with them in 2023, that means we are literally saying we are no longer Nigerians, and that means the world will have to listen to us from our own angle rather than as a Nigerian.
But do you think the world is going to be interested in us as
well, like I did mention, we don't care whether the world listen or not. I've said it, live on my broadcast. The G8 cannot stop what is coming.
And that's the superpower. And is there what interest do you have in relation to other parts of Africa where the Chinese and others have dominated or are dominating the people, and us here in the diaspora are wanting to create or build a different world, a different planet, do you give any consideration to that side of things, or are you just mainly concerned about the liberation of the Yoruba people?
Well, I believe just like you're concerned, we are concerned with the Chinese penetrating not just Nigeria, Africa countries. We believe that they are working as a front to some of the African leaders and the politicians. If we can stop what is coming from what they are operating in Africa at the moment, if we get what we want, I'm sure as Yoruba people, we can be able to maybe be the voice. At the moment, Nigeria, if Nigeria was working in quotation, should have been the voice for Africa. But as you can see, Nigeria cannot feed itself, because Nigeria itself is like something that was molded and is now shattering, because it was molded on a false, it was built on false. So that if it has been left the way it is, maybe Africa would not have been where it is. There's a lot of damage that is taking place by the Chinese, and I believe it's not just in Nigeria, but there's more damage in Nigeria, far more than the other African countries that is already looming. So, and we're gonna put a full stop to that quickly, because that will be, we're going into the next slavery, which I don't want to leave my generation to take care of when I'm gone.
Can I say something quickly?
Marlene?
Yeah.
Marlene?
Yeah.
If you're going to say something that's very, very,
yeah, it's going to be very quick.
Hear me out.
Well,
Marlene,
yeah.
just a minute. Very, very short, because we must move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All I want to say to the young man, couldn't you be leading up to another Biafra? Because when they've got the strong powers back in the government, they can always create that sort of thing.
Just to answer it straight, Biafra, I know it's people we use that as an eye mark, and people get scared. Like I did mention, there's already evidence, fact, figures of genocide right inside Nigeria. If the genocide doesn't get stopped quickly, it will be far bigger than what we've seen in the history of mankind.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think it's worthy of another conversation. Yeah, where we can give more time to have this conversation.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I know that you have to go, but you are coming back. You said you can come back around about 9:15. So maybe the last few questions could be done at the end of the session.
Yeah, I'm still here at exactly 5 minutes to 9. I'm going to come out, and then after just about 10 past or 15 past, I'll be coming back in. We're still live. I'm not shutting down the live streaming. It's on Wale Walata on Facebook, and people are watching it as I speak as well. So I will mute mine, and I continue to enjoy the presentation, but I will come out at about 5 minutes to 9, but I'll be back again on my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being very, very informative information. Thank you. A lot that we would never have heard of any other way. Thank you. Royston, are we going for a break now?
Yeah, it's only going to be a very short break. One, because of time, and two, because the video I've got is short. And this was just simply a taste of the acknowledgement in memory of our brother Dougie that happened this week.
Chineke, the divine womb of creation. Give thanks to the sun and the moon and the stars. Give thanks to the ancestors who protect and guide us as we walk our path. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. It's shame. My name is Griot Chinyere. Wait. My name is Griot Chinyere, and I'm bowing out. Give thanks and praises. Thank you. Come on, give me some Can we please just
Sorry about that abrupt end. Patricia, I wonder, would you say anything about the drums?
Yes.
And acknowledging Brother Dougie as well.
Yes, well, I don't know how many people in the Zoom actually knew Dougie, but for me, he was one of our wonderful, wonderful leaders, loving, caring human being, you know, who was very concerned about our well-being and was working for us and our liberation in all ways possible. You know, he did some work around men and prostate, working with the elderly, you know, involved in Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. He did a lot of work for us. And I think, you know, you said something earlier on about Jake being one of our unsung heroes. We have a lot of unsung heroes and heroines within our community, and we really do need to honor them. You know, we're talking about reparations and liberation, and we need to honor ourselves and our people so that when we actually stand, you know, we know what we're fighting for. You know, it's not just word sound. There's a lot of us who've worked really, really hard in different ways. You know, we've stood up to the oppression that we've been subjected to. And Dougie was one of those individuals, and he devoted his life to us, for us. He was concerned about us. So unfortunately, I wasn't at the drumming session, I was somewhere else. I'm part of the drumming team. Amawale, who was one of the drummers there, and Galactic Clyde was there as well. Well done, loved it. We're trying to get 1,000 drummers to meet together. And there's a selection of events. Okay, I've got a leaflet right here. For those people who are not aware, we've got this weekend, Gret Chenier, who was the woman in the white dress at Dougie's celebration. She will be, we will be drumming in Oxley Woods, Crown Woods Lane, SE18 3JA on Saturday, the 25th. That's in support of the I'm not going to say this properly, but NNE, Agwu Storytelling Festival. On the 1st of Messiah, we will be in Brixton celebrating, you know, African Emancipation Reparations Day. The intention is to lock down Brixton. That's from the Black Cultural Archive down to Max Roach Park. And although the road there will be pedestrianised in terms of no traffic will be allowed through. So we want as many people down there as possible, because it won't work unless we've got bodies, okay? And so the drums will be there, drumming. Hopefully people will, you know, bring their drums or other musical instrument to participate in this event. You know, this is the 7th year, 6 years have passed. We've collected signatures for the petition, and people are not taking us seriously. So for me, we need to take ourselves seriously. And if we're concerned, as Dougie was, about our well-being, we'll be there. So that's on the 1st of Messiah. On the 8th of August, again, we'll be back in Oxley Woods. And this will be the celebration of the Asian Revolution, the commemoration for that, because it started, I think, the 8th of August. So that's going to be, again, at Oxley Woods. And that will be from 7 o'clock. On the 16th of August 2020, 3 p.m. Hyde Park Corner, we will be celebrating Marcus Garvey's Earth Strong, and it's an African Family Day. Bring picnics, etc., so we can celebrate Marcus Garvey and all the work, and you know, the work that he did in devotion of African people. Again, the next event will be on the 22nd. At 7 p.m. Oxley Woods, and that's a Haitian Revolution conclusion. So there's a series of events, but there are other things as well. I'm not sure if Clive, if you have any other additional information about events taking place, but those are the main ones that's been listed on this leaflet, which is a leaflet that's been distributed by a number of people. And we just have to keep the fight going. And I don't know what your feelings were listening to the drumming in the park that took place for Brother Dougie, but it's reconnecting to the earth. And, you know, I think that's where we get our energies, and that's really important for us. And I'm hoping that enough of us will reconnect with our ancestors to gain the confidence, strength and power to stand. And through just standing and connecting with each other, we won't need any violence. The First of Messiah is a non-violent direct action, okay, where people will be meeting to discuss issues like that we're discussing tonight, you know, in terms of how we move forward as a people. No one's taking us seriously. We need to take ourselves seriously. How can we do that collectively?
Thank you.
Yeah, can I?
Very quickly, to make it short, Clive.
Yeah, okay. That's why I don't like to talk. Yeah, I'd just like to echo what my sister said. But I mean, what was significant with the drummings on this day, it enabled our brother Dougie to have a semblance of his spiritual rites of passage, because as you know, there was no churches. So the gathering in Chestnut Park was really heartwarming, particularly having mom, the sisters, and the rest of the family there, because my brother dedicated his life to the community, and he also protected his family. So his mom, though she was aware, a lot of us wasn't aware as to who she was. So I was really honored to be able, as well as my colleagues, to be able to present her to the wider community to honor the sacrifice that Dougie himself had made for the benefit of us all. I think we're at a momentous time right now that we need to seize the moment as a collective, because as the brother was saying previously, in Africa, we have been exploited, abused. And this means that with the drum, we're reconnecting with our ancestral past, and we can make a stand and protest at the same time in tune with our heartbeat. So I say one love and more strength.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and yes, also on that day, just quickly, the Sisters Empowerment Group awarded Brother Dougie for the work that he's done in the community, you know, because he enabled Find Your Voice, and basically he was a very strong advocate of mental health as well. So it was a beautiful day, and his family, as I said, were proud of their son and brother, cousin, uncle, etc. So going on to our next presentation.
Auntie Jean, I don't know what the challenge is. Brother Wesley keeps raising his hand. Is that you, or is it the system that you're trying to operate?
No, Brother Wesley, did you want to say something? Is that the reason?
Yes. Am I doing this right?
Okay. Short now, please, so we can move forward,
Yeah,
please. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Condolences to Brother Dougie. With regards to the speaker who spoke about us coming together and whether we're taken seriously, one of the problems I think we have majorly as a people, we demonstrate and we march, but we never take our process through the parliamentary process. What was done to us, we have to undo it by going back through the same pathway. Many times I've spoken to the reparations team, have to go back for our councillors, have to go back for our MPs. You can't put reparations on the table if you don't take it back through the process it was made.
I hear that, yeah.
Thank you.
I agree, and I second.
Okay, Clive, thank you. Thank you. Let's just move forward now. Thank you.
I'm going to introduce our next presentation, our last presentation for this evening, and our sister, Makeda J Hewitt. And Makeda is beautifully bald, and Makeda is going to tell us her journey from resistance to acceptance. So Makeda, the screen is now yours, and welcome. Is she around? Makeda?
Here I go. Sorry, I'm so used to being on the mute. Thank you, Auntie Jean and Royston, for inviting me to share my journey with you all. And just to say that at the end of the presentation, I would really, really love to hear from the men, because I hear some very conflicting stories and arguments about how our men feel about women, black women being bald. So please, I'd love to hear from the men after I finish speaking. And also, there are a lot of our sisters now. First of all, I must say that what you do with your hair and how you wear your hair is your choice. So this is no way a criticism at all. But what has happened is a lot of our sisters are walking about with weaves and wigs, and underneath that, they are going through severe hair loss. And the more they're going through that hair loss is the more they are gluing, sewing, weaving. The hair is sweating underneath the wig. And since going bald, a few people that I know have actually followed suit, because they've said, well, boy, do you know what? I'm done now. If you can do it, then I'm going to do it too. My hair loss was from, I have systemic lupus. So that's where my hair loss stems from. And when I was 21, I specifically remember when I was 21, I was having my hair braided, and the sister that was braiding my hair saw this patch, and it was like a real bald, shiny patch about the size of a 10p piece. And she said to me, have you got stress or something? And I said, well, no, not really. I don't know why that's there. It wasn't until the age of about 30-ish that I discovered that it was actually because of systemic lupus. And I suffered hair loss in other places. Then, you know, I sort of carried on with, you know, like other women, I did the perm and the straightening and, you know, all of the deceptive hairstyles and all the braids. But then when I was on my journey to finding who I was, about myself, my African heritage, my inner self, I remember I had my hair in a hairstyle, all fixed up and curly and fancy. And I remember looking in the mirror, but the person that I was seeing in the mirror was not the person looking back at me, that we were two very different people. And that day I actually got the scissors and I hacked off every single piece of that straightening out of my hair, and I never looked back. I just started to grow my locks. I just literally left my hair and it grew into locks. And, you know, I felt good. That was my identity for many, many, many years. But my hair loss started to become more and more significant in the middle, around the edges. I went to the doctors and they basically said to me, well, you know, we can treat you, but it will be drugs. Medically, it can be, we'll have to give you this cream that you'll have to put on your hair, but you'll have to use it for the rest of your life. And you've got to be careful that every single time you use it, you'll have to make sure you wash your hands, because you'll start growing hair on your hands. I was like, whoa, no, okay, all right. And you know, you'll have to have steroids. And I'm like, okay, I've been pumped with enough drugs with having to deal with this illness. I'm not gonna go down the road. They said, go away about it. I said, I'll think about it, but I'm not gonna do it. So I just mixed up my own coconut oils and olive oils and, you know, bits and pieces and rubbed them in my scalp. And another way of dealing with my health issues was to change my diet, so to eat as natural as possible, you know, over time, eliminating things like red meat and eating brown rice and just trying to do for myself rather than relying on drugs and things for my hair. But I have never ever been a person that has worn, I've just never worn a wig or a weave. It's just never been me. It's never been something that I've embraced. But I had a really good loctician,
and he was very good. I did try and put a presentation together. It didn't happen with all the different pictures, but another time. But I had a really good loctician, and he really did do some styles to disguise my baldness. I mean, he was just like brilliant. And he used to say to me, don't worry, we'll do a style for you, and we'll disguise it. So a lot of people never actually realized just how much hair loss I was going through. And I just carried on using like natural remedies in my hair, mixing up my own remedies and stuff. So fast forward a few years later, the baldness on one side just became just so apparent that I said, okay, I am not ready to let go of my locks. So I started rocking the half head shaved. And, I was happy with that for a while, and, looked good, you just have it hanging down. And then as the fronts go in, I'm hanging it down even more. And as they're falling out, my loctician's sewing them back in for me again. It was a crazy, crazy time. Then one day I was on the bus and I was on my way somewhere, and I felt like a burning in my scalp, and I went to touch my hair, and a handful of locks just came out in my hand, and I was literally stuffing them in my handbag so that nobody on the bus could see what was happening, and I was just trying to cover what was left with my hair. And when I got to the place where I was going, somebody said to me, oh, I remember you from last week. You're that lady with that beautiful hairstyle. And I just broke down into tears. And that poor person had no idea what. And I had to say, no, it's not you. I'm just not in a good place right now. And I came home and I called my mum. Now, my mum lives in Jamaica. I called my mum and I was crying, a big old 56-year-old woman crying to my mum, Mum, I'm going bald. I don't know what to do. And she was like, well, better you just shave it off, just practical advice. And at the same time, my daughter was saying to me, Mum, I think you would look beautiful bald. And I'm like, no, I won't look good. And then, I don't know, I just came to that point, like with a lot of things, when you come to that point of acceptance, then you do what you have to do. Yes, Delroy, systemic and discoid lupus. And I remember coming home one day from the gym, I looked in the mirror and because I got tired of wearing the bandanas and the baseball caps and just everything, it was just too much energy, just trying to cover up my baldness. And I got the scissors and I just hacked off the hair. And I went to, and as a gesture, my daughter said, Mum, I'm going to give you the money to go to the barbers. You are going to do this. And I remember going to the barbers and I said to him, clean it off. And he cleaned it off. And I remember looking in the mirror and thinking, okay, all right. But it still, when I got home and I picked up my granddaughter from school, and I remember taking off my cap, I had a baseball cap on, and she took one look at me and she just started to cry. She was like, Grandma, what's happened? No, you have to get a wig, quick, Grandma, quick. And I was like, no, baby, this is now Grandma from this day on. And I can't explain that sense of freedom that I felt that day. It was just a sense of freedom. And it was almost like all of that energy that I was putting into trying to cover up my baldness, I just started to put into other things. And then it took me a while to stop wearing head wraps and caps and stuff. And I remember it was one beautiful sunny day and I just said, you know what? I need some melanin on this bald head of mine. And I took my wraps off and I never looked back. And I found that I was getting compliments, I was getting looks, but they weren't looks like weird looks. They were like acknowledgements and, hey, okay, you look nice. And from women, I'd go to the supermarket and women would say to me, oh, sister, you look so beautiful. I wish I could do that, but I'm just not brave enough. And you know, and I just said, look, we're all on our own journey, but if that day ever comes that you feel that you want to do that, call me, I'll support you through the journey. But one of the things that I found, I wanted to find a community of bald women that I could get some sort of support from, and I could hear about their journey as well. Because, you know, as Black women, from children, hair is a big thing. You know, I grew up in a family where hair wasn't put as the, you know, it wasn't like, oh, you haven't got long hair, so you're not pretty. I never grew up in that kind of family, but I grew up in a family where we were slaves to the hairdressers and always going and getting the hair done. And you know how Black people are, oh, I have nice towel here, oh, head dry. And so for us as Black women, hair was a big thing. And I say was, because for me, it's like, I am so much more than my hair, so much more than my hair. And also there's, yes, somebody talked about chemo. There's people that are going through chemo where they're losing their hair and they're feeling that they have to cover up, and it's sad really, because look, just having your hair out and just being free is just, it's freeing, but when it happens to you and it catches you unawares, it's a really, really difficult thing to cope with. So I started looking for some sort of bald community, but believe me, everything I Googled, everything I looked at was about growing the hair back, or about wigs, or about, or you know, all these certain super weaves that you can have to glue on your head. And I'm like, nah, I don't want any hair. I'm an all or nothing person. So I'd rather just go with my bald head. I don't want all of this. But I then found a group on Facebook called the Baldy Movement, and they transformed my life. I mean, in America, I have never seen so many beautiful bald women in my life. And they're all encouraging, you know, we give each other messages of encouragement. But I also felt that here in the UK, women were still hiding themselves. And there's so many women that have said to me, I wish I could do what you do, but I'm just not brave enough. So I thought, well, you know what? Start a community of your own. And that's exactly what I started to do. So, you know, I mixed up my own coconut oils and olive oils and stuff, and I use that and I rub on my scalp to keep it, because you've got to keep your scalp, you know, nice. And I created a range of t-shirts. I can't, I'm wearing one now, the best version, Bald Delicious, because I'm Bald Delicious. I've created a Facebook page which is called Beautifully Bald, and it's where women can just come and talk about their stories. Women can actually come and get support. They can talk about their baldness, you know, hiding behind the wigs and what it means for them. I've got Instagram page, I've got Facebook page, I'm having a website made, and also I'll be selling my t-shirts, my mugs, my bags, my phone covers, everything on my website and on Tolson's. I don't know if you've heard of Tolson's, which is the takeover from Amazon. It's the Black version of Amazon, coming from the from Tulsa, the Black Wall Street. So yeah, it for me, it wasn't about growing my hair back, and I found that the compliments I was getting, and I remember the first time I actually went out, it was my friend's birthday party, and I went out, and you know, I dressed up and I had my bald head, and well, I had on a wrap, but I was with my friend, and just before I entered the venue, I took the wrap off and I entered, and people were just coming up to me and saying, you know, sis, you look beautiful. Women were coming up and saying, hey sis, I love your style. And I just had so much confidence. And I can honestly say, at my age now, this year I'll be 58 years old, I've never felt so beautiful. I've never felt so beautiful. I've never felt so sexy. I've never felt so sort of just me, because I'm no longer hiding. I'm no longer trying to disguise. I'm just who I am. So yeah, that's my journey. I didn't want to take too long. I could talk for England and I could go on a lot more, but I'm aware of the time. So that is my journey. And if anyone's got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. But like I said, I want to hear from the men, because some of the conflicting stories that I get is that the men will like the woman board at home, but when they're going out, they'd rather her wear a wig. So they're not, they like it at home, but they're not out and proud with their women. I hear stories that men would rather their women be bald, if that's the case, rather than wearing the wig and the weave. A close friend of mine recently, none of her family knew how bald she was because she hid it under her wigs. She got married recently, not even her husband knew how bald she was because the wig was off and the scarf was on. So he never ever saw, but she got tired of hiding it and she felt inspired and she shaved it off, and her husband actually said to her, I can actually now see your beautiful face, because it was no longer shrouded in hair that wasn't hers. So yeah, so I'd really love to hear from the brothers, really would love to, but anything you want to ask me at all, please fire away.
Okay,
Galactic here. Greetings, greetings. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So you're promoting baldhead, eh?
Yeah. Yes.
The Rasta don't deal with baldhead. But anyway, listen, have you tried about increase your vitamin E or anything of that nature before you actually decide to go fully bald, or just allow everything to fall off?
My brother, I have been dealing with lupus 1993. I've done it all. I've done it all. And where I've been able to make improvements in my body, not in my hair, not in my hair. So I've tried vitamin E, D, C, taking it, ingesting it, putting it on the scalp. Honestly, I tried mixing up my own oils, not using any of these chemical ones from the stores.
Okay.
But it wasn't to be.
Sorry. Here is something I bet you haven't tried. My herbalist used to say for bald head, you use cow chip tea. Have you heard about cow chip tea?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But what I will say is that I actually don't want to grow my hair back. I love who I am. So even if there was a magic potion to grow my hair back tomorrow, I would say thank you, but no thank you, because I love who I am.
Yeah, it's cow down. It's cow down. It's cow down. So I'm sure you wouldn't want to do that. But thank you very much.
Thank you anyway. Thank you.
Okay,
Hi, Makeda.
Wesley.
Hello. Hi, thank you. Hi, Makeda.
Hi, Wesley.
Beautiful, endearing story. Love the journey. I just wanted to let you know, first got involved in lupus in 2002 and done an award ceremony for empowering Black women. And it was for disability, and that was from London Guildhall. So the story of lupus, I understand, because I recently just lost a friend to lupus as well.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, her name was Hazel Williams. So I've grown up with her. I've known her from, she was the first Black woman bombshell that I've ever known. So
wow.
It's amazing when you have icons. And with regards to yourself, as a young Black man, and you know, I look up to the people who have gone before. One of the things I've learned with self is, if you don't appreciate yourself, what's the point? Now, if there is a Black woman and she believes or feels the need to have to wear a weave to identify herself as something else, when she's somewhere else, but when she's with me, to identify herself as someone else, that means I'm dealing with two different people. So for me, that's a problem. And one of the things we have to learn to accept, and everybody has to learn to accept natural law, not the rule of law. If we're going to go back to who and what we are, we come from natural law, not the rule of law. That's a scramble of Africa. That's where all the problems began. So if we go back to natural law, that means in love with self. If my hair falls out, it's meant to happen. I don't believe in accidents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's natural law. That's God-given, that's spirituality. So I believe everything happens for a reason. And I believe your journey as a young Black woman, if you don't mind me saying, yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you. If you don't mind me saying, I find you more endearing, and I find your spirituality and your aura shines through more powerfully now, for the reason being, you're in acceptance and not in denial. And part of our problem as a people, we are trying to be who we're not meant to be. And that's why we have mundane problems. And with regards to me as a young black man, as long as the black woman that I'm with or the person that I'm with is confident in how she feels, and if she needs my arm, my energy around her to bring that confidence out, but not my will over hers, it has to be her will that shines through. So it's empowering and making sure, it doesn't matter if it's male or female, that you have the power to believe that you can wear your hair, you can be without your hair. If my hair falls out, it was meant to happen. I'm not gonna put cow dung on my head. I'm not gonna take vitamin E to grow it back because it was meant to happen. I'm fighting against the wind. And if you ever walk in the wind, and the wind is blowing so hard, try and walk against the wind. You're gonna have a hard journey. But if you go with the wind and you go with your aura and with your spirituality, it takes you down a route and a journey where you're taking us now. And one of the things I would like to say is on your website, if you could put a link in, because sometimes, you know, when buying t-shirts and sometimes you actually get more help if you put in a donation segment and link it straight to your bank account. Because once you do that now, you could actually show, because this is what we did for lupus in 2002. Rather than donate the money to charity, we actually worked out that most of the money went to tax. So what we done, we found out what they needed in a hospital. So what we done, we raised the money and bought and put it towards the machinery and donated it to the hospital.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you're going to do a project, or say you're building towards something, or to Lupus Foundation, or anything that you're doing, it's a journey to go to Africa, self-discovery. If you put that on and do a donations page on various projects that you're doing, and you can actually show how your donations and how people are supporting your organization. And if once you do that, other people can see you donating, because maybe I don't want to wear a t-shirt, but maybe I want to do something more tangible by funding your project for longevity and sustainability.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I think one of the reasons why I created the t-shirts as well was because I was making a statement. I mean, one of the t-shirts says, "I am more than my hair," or "Living my bored life." And I'm also having my logo design. But I think I was making a statement. One of the favorites that I have to get sold out there quite quickly is the limited edition one. But it was like, it's really just getting people to have acceptance, because people walk about with these t-shirts saying all these things, but actually, look, I'm proud of this, so I'm just letting you know. I'm proud. And yeah, I'm baldylicious. I've got one badass baldy, whatever you want, whatever it's, you know, wherever you are in the journey.
Could I just correct something? I didn't mean that I didn't want to buy a t-shirt. What I should have said was, forgive me, my apologies, Royston.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, I didn't mean that. Yeah.
What I wanted to do, because sometimes we do the mistakes and don't get a chance to correct it. I didn't mean that I didn't want to buy a t-shirt. What I was saying, after I bought a t-shirt, or if I hadn't bought a t-shirt, donating to your organizations for sustainability and longevity is important. So as well as buying a t-shirt, so it doesn't end there, so other people can see the projects you're working on. So by donating, people, you can start an Angels Fund where people can donate £40 to your charity or your projects every year, or £20. So it keeps it going, as well as having a t-shirt to your various projects that you're working on. The same person or other people can donate to those projects. Sorry.
Thank you. No, that's fine, because I think I was just explaining the reasoning behind that. And also, you know, as women, we like making statements. Women love making statements. So that's where the bags come in. That's where the phone covers and the mug. So it's just that statement, and it's being, I think it's on my Instagram page. It says, I want to help people to embrace their bald beautiness. Now I know beautiness isn't actually a word, but I've just created a new one. But it's just acceptance, and with acceptance comes so much freedom. So yeah.
So as one of the man them,
yes.
we you know, we've kind of worked together now for some time, and I think the last time I saw you with hair was at Hammersmith, isn't it, by the river? I think when we did the workshop at the river, and I think you expressed something about that struggle then, you know, to manage that. And I'm the guy that, you know, and I'm sorry if there's any sisters on here with one of those things, but I'm the guy that walks down the road, and I don't say it, but I watch somebody with a wig on their head, and what goes through my mind is, take that damn thing off your head. You know, and it's a constant thing that I say, I recite in my head, and I don't say it from a point of respect, but it goes through my head. Take that damn thing off your head. So when you made that step into yourself, I was one of the happiest people to stand alongside you and walk with you, you know, and because what I saw was a growth beyond the charade of hiding, I think was the word you used.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Yeah.
saw that growth, I
Yeah.
saw that transition, I saw that transformation, and I just so welcome it, because I see you are an immensely happier person as a result of stepping into you and claiming you, you know, and it's not saying, you know, you didn't have beauty before, but this magnifies you as a woman, you know, completely, you know, and probably if you knew this, you'd have been born at 21 and you probably had 29 kids, you know.
Listen, this is no joke. I even developed a sassy walk to go with the baldness. Trust me on that.
But that's absolutely great.
Oh, thank you,
and
Royston.
well
Thank
done.
you.
And I know, you know, and let me check. And I know one of the sisters who I used to repeatedly say in my head, get that damn thing off your head, get that damn thing off your head. And I know that she has now made that transition to actually go bald. And you know it, and I know it. It's the direct result of you having led the way. So thank you for being a beacon. Thank you for being a light. And if enough of us women do it, we'll put those people who don't look like us, who take all our money, buying stuff to put on our head, you know, and then disrespecting us in the process. We can put our money to better causes, you know, than that. So well done.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, one of the sorry,
Patricia.
I just wanted to ask Makeda, how many members of Bald Delicious are there?
What? No.
How many
actually, I'm in the team, but people are coming on board. I'm doing a Zoom chat, and I'm getting people coming on board. So I've got about 7 women so far, but I've got about 50 odd people on my page that like my Facebook page at the moment, and I've got a good few on Instagram. I just haven't checked lately, but it's a slow process. But yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Makeda, I just wanted to follow up on something important that Royston said. And as Royston, I don't think we realised, but we've actually met before many years ago, so it's good to reconnect, but I'll find out how.
Okay.
But one of the things I wanted to say is something that you said, and I think that goes to the heart of one of the major issues in the Black community. When we say the breakdown of the Black community, fundamentally we talk about like Black on Black violence, we talk about the male, the violence, the male on male violence. But part of that issue, and a lot of people won't talk about it because they're not brave enough to talk about it, is the fact that the breakdown in the Black community comes from how we spend our pound. And so many Black women spend the money out of the Black community. And the first place they go to is those nail and hair technician shops. And what they don't understand is by going to those people, you empower those people with your pound, and economically it breaks the back of us. That gives them more strength and ammunition to actually go and infiltrate our countries. And as a Black man, not too many Black men are strong enough to come out and say that. And too many Black women are falling into the handshake, the false promise like Koiki was talking about earlier on, and they've taken it and they embrace it. Me, it's not to say that I don't embrace it, but Weave On has no place for me. If someone can appreciate themselves, I love them. I love them more for it. But what appreciates me more is that we don't sell out our own from the fundamental, from the house. So from black women as have a responsibility, a bigger responsibility to show going forward how they appreciate themselves. So by black women saying that, oh, I've just worn it as a style, what are they saying? Are they saying that they don't like self, they don't appreciate themselves? So I don't understand. For me as a black male, maybe I need to understand more. And for a black woman's perspective, I think what they need to understand is when they do these things, how does it portray to a black man in this society who is under the hanging tree 24/7? Men are under the hanging tree 24/7 for public lynchings in companies, in organizations every single day. And a lot of black women don't understand the fact that when they do these things, they empower everybody else, but they tear us to pieces when they get the chance. So as a black man, I find it fundamentally demonizing when black women wear these weaves. It's good for them, and I don't mind it, it's their choice. But me personally, I prefer, if you go bald, be beautiful, Makeda, just like your soul sings. But for me, I think black women need to take the responsibility and put their hands up and take the responsibility and own up to the fact that it's not only black men that have to take responsibility for the problems in our black community. Black women need to put their hands up, and we ain't talking about that. And that's a conversation that maybe Patricia, Makeda, Auntie Jean, that you need to take forward, because I know if I raise this in another forum, women would be tearing out the locks that I've got.
I think we've got to be fair though, because if you know, remember from very young, this whole thing about hair has been ingrained in black women. You know, I have been horrified. When I say horrified, when I'm seeing somebody walking along with a buggy, and that child got extensions in. So from before a child can even walk, you're telling them that then they're not, their hair is them. Do you know what I mean? That they're not beautiful without that hair, because that's the message that they're getting.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You know, so black women have been so ingrained. I mean, that we could start straightening. Look, when we were little, we had to sit down and get bun up with the hot comb and all of those things, because, you know, all about hair. So I think it's like a lot of things in our community. It's a process, but we will get there. We'll get there. And I definitely am creating this community so that, and like I'd say to anyone, if you want to, I've left my details on the chat. If you want to talk to me, if you want to talk to me on behalf of somebody else, if you want to explore some more about my journey, and you want, please just reach out to me or just get someone else to contact me. I am doing a Zoom chat as well, so where people can come together and talk about it. So, you know, everything's got to start from somewhere. So, yeah.
Maybe this is a topic for Under the Mango Tree.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yes. I think Marlene had her hand up for a while.
Oh, yeah, Marlene and Sister.
Marlene.
And then Sister Doctor.
Okay.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, Marlene.
What I'd like to say on this topic is, as black people, black women especially, as you know, our hair is our pride and glory. We all love this long hair, and not all of us is meant to have long hair. What has been taken away from us, we need to have learned as children how to admire our hair, how to groom our hair, how to do many things to our hair. That is what has been lacking. Where the slaves, masters and the the conquerors took us, they wanted us to have European hair. They made us believe that having black hair was not good enough. I have a lot of passion on this. A lot of our black men are hypocrites for the reason that if you go out and you have your natural hair, they will go after the women with the weave hair. It is changing now as we are getting to know ourselves, getting to love ourselves, but it is still there. And young girls are still putting weave first. Right, that is one part. Another part, they wear these weaves till they ruin their hair, like you say. If you've got a problem like health reason, like what you've had lupus or cancer, and you've lost your hair naturally, but some of them, when the hair start to go, they need to start breaking it off, take out the weave, take out everything, start cutting it and letting it develop itself. I used to be a platter. My hair was, as it's in plait, it's out plait, as it's in plait. And I noticed my hair started to thinning, and I've always had thin hair anyway. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to lose all my hair because I do not want to go bald. So I stopped with all the weave, stopped with everything. And my hair started coming back naturally. And that's what we got to recognize before it goes, that we've lost it completely. Because in our head, mentally, our hair is our beauty. It's become very fashionable now to have short hair and bald hair. But, you know, as children, when we have our children, do not start indoctrinating them the way we were indoctrinated. And that's
right,
what I'd like to say on this.
Yeah. I mean, I really made sure that when I was raising my daughter, that hair wasn't the be all and end all, wasn't the issue. And I remember one time in her life, she's 35, there was one time in her life she put on a weave, and that weave came off her head almost as soon as she put it on, because she said, Mum, it's not me. And she had locks. And, you know, when I went bald, she's like, you know what, Mum, I feel inspired. And she's cleaned hers off as well. So she's not fully bald. She's got a little, you know, buzz cut and a twist or whatever, but she just cut her hair off as well. And we're both like rocking our short hair and our baldy styles. I didn't raise her to believe that it was all, but she never ever saw me in a wig or a weave anyway, so it wasn't part of the culture that she grew up in.
Because
I brought up to embrace that.
It's happened now that short hair is very fashionable, very stylish. There's a number of things you can do with short hair, but you've got to have that ingrained in you from you're young. But with all these weaves, that's what's been ingrained. Because the European did tell us that black hair was not good hair, and we in turn started telling each other that it's not good hair. So we have to now embrace our hair, and our men need to embrace our own hair. Then we won't be putting on all these weaves on our head to ruin our hair. And a tip, if you see your hair is going from its start, decide to, this is it, I'm going to start making my hair short. I have to, when I first started cutting my hair, I miss all my long hair, but in the end I saved my hair and I've got hair. I've just washed it now, I haven't combed it, but I've got hair on my head and I'm happy, and you know, it's admired. And we have got to find a way to embrace and love our hair, and our men should stop going after these women with the long weave, because they encourage it. Because if they weren't preferring those girls to the natural girls, the girls that put the weave on wouldn't put it on their head.
Okay, thanks,
or if
Marlene.
they meet a man with it, a woman with it, tell them, I don't like it, change. But they go for it themselves.
Thanks,
okay.
Marlene.
Okay.
Some men.
Too many.
Sister Doctor.
Too many. Too many. Okay.
It does sound like an under the mango tree conversation.
Absolutely.
I just want to salute you, Sister Makeda. I just really want to salute you, because your journey, I've been doing workshop with women for years, and so the hair thing comes up a lot. You know, it comes up over the years, and I know Maasai women. There are women who wear just either wear their hair really short or take their hair off, and depending on your level of confidence or what took you there can affect how you interact with yourself, with other people, so on and so forth. It's really, really encouraging to see, you know, a Black woman, like, you know, and you look good, and your energy's, I mean, you're it's really up. Your energy's up, and it's good. I can see your earrings, your glasses are just like, you're really rocking some style. What I wanted to say is that, I guess because of the work I've been doing over the years, women who have lost their hair without it being their choice, if you like, because of a health reason, has added a kind of relationship with loss of hair. So it's really good to have the balance, you know, to hear you. I think more people need to hear you. As you were talking, I remember somebody, I'm not going to mention the name, it makes no sense to mention the name, but I just remember somebody turning up at my door because they had been diagnosed with cancer, and they went through a process of treatment, and their hair started to fall out, and you know, it really kind of impacted how they were with themselves. They had like intimate conversations with me about their relationship with their husband because of losing hair like everywhere. So they were and then over time they began to embrace it, but also make it almost like a sense of humor, you know, that this was happening. I wanted to know what your thoughts are around taking care of your skin, because one of the things that has tied us up as women is how much investment we put in our hair, partly because we're conditioned, partly because of a number of reasons. What we perceive men want. I mean, my reference point is not men, so, you know, but what some of us perceive men want, and so we, you know, some of us want to do what we perceive men want, and then we don't take care of our skin, or you know, odor is attached to the thing that we put on our head, whatever. I mean, I've been on a journey myself. I've taken my hair off, I've put it on, I've plaited, I've you know, many of us have. But the importance of taking care of your skin, you did mention it, partly because you've made your own oils and whatever. But can you say something about the skin thing? Because I think that is such an important part of the journey as well. We invest money in taking care of our hair.
You froze just then. I just missed you because of my connection. Can you say something about
skin? About the skincare, because we would have invested, I think you said your family invested a lot in hair, like you'd go to the salon or whatever. So we invest a lot of money in hair, or perceptions of hair, or buying hair, but our skin also suffers. It suffers if we put the wrong weave in, or if we plait our hair too tightly, or all of that. Once you've taken the hair off, what then with the skin? Do you offer anything up? And by the way, I quickly went to your website. It's amazing. But yeah, the skin.
So I look after my skin. I always have. I've always looked after my skin. So, you know, I always try to maintain a good cleansing routine. But since going bald, like I said, I mix up coconut oil, olive oil. There's another oil called Nux oil, or just something for a bit of scent. And it's literally as natural as possible, because I think we invest in too much in chemical things, where actually skincare is pretty simple. So for me, I'm blessed with a mum who was just always looked after herself. So we've always followed suit. But I think those are the things that are important. Things that make you feel good. It's not about vanity. It's not about slapping a whole load of makeup on. Yes, I do wear makeup. I like my makeup. I make no apology. But it's about just as natural as you can in terms of.
I mean your scalp.
For the scalp, just natural. Just I use a Harry's razor. I've been through, because I don't go to the barbers, and I don't have one of those clipper things. I have been on a journey with the razors. I've cut myself, I've had the bumps, I've been on a journey until I found the razor that actually works for me. So I use tea tree oil, a tea tree oil based gel. I don't use shaving foam. So I use a tea tree oil base, and I put that on my hair, and then I use a razor, and I just twice a week I give myself a lovely fresh shave. I did one this morning, nice fresh shave, and then I just use something natural like coconut oil. I do put on a after balm when I've just shaved it, because otherwise I found that I was getting a lot of bumps. So I do put on an after balm when I've done a fresh shave. But after that, I just keep my scalp moisturized with some coconut oil and olive oil mixed together. Couple of words of warning, yeah. Regardless of what anyone says about our black skin, it needs protection. You can burn your baldy. So do put on sun protection if you're going out in the hot sun and you're not wearing a hat or something like that, because I've seen some not really nice on the other pages, some not nice things when women have said, look, I've gone out without protection. And also something that nobody tells you is that when you've just shaved and you're hot and you sweat, it can burn you, because the sweat, the salt can burn your scalp. So that's just a bit of a warning there. But my regime is very simple. You know, there's none of this pulling and clipping and whatever. I shave, I rub, I go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, there's a couple of other people want some questions. Donna, I saw you unmute yourself, and also Shaz. But I'd also like to let you be aware that Koiki has returned back. So if there's anybody got any other questions that they didn't get a chance to ask previously, you can ask now also. So the floor is open to questions to both presenters that's actually still here. Thank you. Donna, so you was up there first. Donna, you still want to ask your question? If not, let me go on to Shaz. Who's entering the room? Is that Shaz?
Hello?
I can hear you, Shaz. Ask your question.
Which sorry.
To mute.
Okay.
Devices.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Which questions? Sorry, Auntie. I'm a little bit behind with this now. I had my hand up a long time ago, and I did have a question, but the brother's gone.
Which brother?
He's back.
The first speaker.
Oh, he only's only here. It was only for his presentation. He had to go.
You're talking about Jake? Shaz?
No, I think it's Koiki, wasn't it?
He's here.
Shaz, are you talking about Jake or Koi?
The Koiki.
You're muted, Shaz.
Unmute. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having some problems here. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, to be honest with you, about the section 60. How the police are using the section 60, and
Yeah.
I think we need to take more notice of it, everyone. Yeah, because you know they're using the law to justify the powers. He never said nothing about it, and the brother didn't say anything about it last week. But I have been following the news and stuff, and I think we need to know more about section 60 and what they're doing with it.
Okay.
And
Shaz, one of the things I would look to do, probably to get Lee Jasper to come along, because Lee is actually leading the idea of moving forward with our own police community. And Lee has had many years from his role as deputy mayor of working with or against the police, as it were. So we'll get him on a future session to specifically talk about that. Jake is involved, but not primary. So we'll look to get Lee to come on one day, okay?
Okay. I've put the rest, thank you. I put the rest of what I had to say, I've put it in the chat, yeah, about men who wear wigs.
Am I idiot?
No, I wanted to ask you, Royston, would you ask a man to take his wig off? Would you?
I would because listen, it's any form of what I'd call a falseness of identity leaves me feeling a little disconnected.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I don't mind makeup, but when you put on makeup that hides the face underneath, I ain't interested.
Oh, men do that as well. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Shaz.
Yeah.
Can I just say, as a woman, where men are concerned, and like I've always said, I'm very much an all or nothing person. I've always loved bald men. I just find bald men sexy. I love them. It's either bald or long locks. but if I was to find that a man was wearing a wig, because nowadays men can get these man weaves, can't they? I would find it quite distressing because yeah, I don't like anything that's not authentic in that way.
In the winter time, doesn't your head get cold?
Oh, in the winter time, I wear my head wrap and I wear my hat. And that's the other thing, because I never used to really think hats suit me. Oh my days, since I've gone bald, I've been rocking the fedoras and all the different types of wraps. I've had fun. Let me tell you, I've had fun. And when it was my birthday and I was asked, what do you want? Hats. A sister took me to the hat shop and bought me 2 hats. My daughter bought me another hat. It's just been hats. And I've been experimenting with head wraps. So in the winter, no, the head does get cold. It does get cold. So you do have to keep it wrapped up. But through this lockdown, one of the things is like, I said, I can't wait to get outside to just get some breeze on my head. So yeah, I've been out there getting as much sun on it and as much breeze as I can. But, you know, you find your way. You find your way. Once you do it, you find your way. You find what suits you, what style suits you, you know, what hats suit you. I've never had so much fun with hats in my life. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Last question. And we just have a last few words from Brother Koi.
Okay. I also want to ask Sister Doctor to say something about the mango tree. It's been mentioned, so to say something specifically about that, please.
I would just like to say thank you very much for the opportunity, Auntie Jenny. We appreciate you for the good work you're doing within the community. When we have so many of you, and I respect each and everybody on the platform. I know I've come out about few minutes out of the broadcast, but it's been recorded. I will sit back again and listen to few part that I've missed. I think we can continue to work together as different angle. My radio show is there. If anybody needs to speak on it, we want to get the message out with whatever you're doing. It's free. I don't charge anybody to come on the show. And like I said, I've worked closely with Brother Clyde for more than 10 years. And I think I could do the same thing with any other person as well. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Don't forget to put your details in the chat. Okay? Put all your details in. The radio details.
I'm just doing that now.
Email. Thank you. Okay. Is this Doctor?
Okay, greetings. I don't know how many people know that on the 1st and 3rd Saturday of every month, there is an opportunity to come together in a Zoom yard in a place that we call Under the Mango Tree. And we talk about a number of things. There aren't necessarily presentations, but it's an opportunity for us to exhale and to talk about things that big people talk about or used to talk about. Most of us are the big people now. So there is no theme that is off limits because it's big people conversation. So even as our sister Queen Makeda was speaking about the hair journey and everything, I was like, that does sound like an under the mango tree conversation. The themes come from us. And it is really an opportunity for us to hang out, because in the lockdown, many of us we've been in Zoom meetings, but they're webinars, seminars, lectures, all kinds of things. And it's just an opportunity for us to bring our perspective. So you may laugh a lot, you may listen a lot, but you will be very welcome. It's a very culturally charged space. So yeah, I think, the next one would have been on the 1st of Mosiah, which is Emancipation Day. And so a decision was made for Under the Mango Tree to be suspended, stepped down in respect and honor and acknowledgement of Emancipation Day. So the first one, again, will be, is it Brother King, the 15th of August? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've put the contact details in the chat room. I don't actually have access to the contact details right now, but just so that people know that this is happening. It has proven so far to be very, very warmly welcomed. In fact, I think more so than I and Brother King even imagined that it would be. People are saying it gave them an opportunity to talk about things that they hadn't thought about, or hear about things that they hadn't heard about. And it's just and it's in support of the Garvey Village. That's the other thing. So it's not my thing. It's not Brother King Royston's thing. We co-facilitate with the support of, well, we have a new co-facilitator too. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Brother King, but you are all welcome under the mango tree. It is just phenomenal. People don't want to leave. That's the kind of thing it is.
And we want to particularly appeal for brothers to step forward and to come under the mango tree. That, you know, as a community, we only gain strength when we bring both sides together to have the conversation. You know, if we have a predominance of women chatting with the absence of men, or a predominance of men, the absence of women, then we're lopsided, we're walking with a limp. So we need to be able to bring both sides together, and we want to invite more men to come under the mango tree. The women come, the women naturally come, you know. The invitation, my invitation, is to brothers to come and join us under the mango tree too, and be pleasantly surprised by the ripe, juicy mangoes that we suck under that tree.
Yeah, just so that people know, it's not in this Zoom room. So if you're thinking that you're going to come to this Zoom room and be able to be under the mango tree, it isn't in this Zoom room. We have it in a space where we just check that it's us who are in the Zoom room. So if you reach out to the contact details that have been put in the chat, you will be sent the joining details, and we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible there.
I'm just wondering if if that's a mango tree that Clive's got his camera on. He's put the camera on the tree.
No, this is a guango tree.
What tree is it?
It's a guango tree.
Oh, guango. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's from my village in Jamaica. So.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. I must say a big thank you to Jake Ferguson for his presentation. I know he's not here now, but a big thank you to Jake. Also, Makeda, very inspiring. A lot of people have put that in the chat. You inspired a lot of people, and how you're brave and courageous you are to telling your story, and how, as I said, as what Royston said, you're a beacon for other women to just come, throw off the weaves, and you know, if you're patching up, as you said, it's nature's way of saying, well, look, maybe this is how you need to be. So thank you for that. And yes, we need to come back. You must come back underneath the mango tree because it is a something.
Oh, that's coming, Jane.
Sorry?
Who's that, the chap who's the fourth speaker?
Brother Koiki.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just thinking that I didn't hear your name being called, but I wanted you to be under the mango tree too. I just realized that, you know, maybe that didn't happen. That young people with fire.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm Auntie Jean.
Okay.
You were in a flow. Go ahead.
Sorry, and also, Olayomi, thank you so much for the insight and also the information. As I said, information that we wouldn't hear any other way. Thank you so much for, as I said, letting us in as to, as I said, what is really going on. And yes, we need to come back, and probably have to come back to do one of these specials for the Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. So thank you very much. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Also, we have a special Auntie Jean's African Culture Market tomorrow at 4 o'clock with the return of Chief Montana due to popular demand. So you can say it was a part 2. So I'll give the details for those who's on the email list. I'll send out the information. I think the information has gone out previously, but I will send it out again. And also you can give me a call. I'll quickly put my telephone number in the chat so you can take that up and I can give you the information directly. But thank you everybody for coming. Thank you very much for our presenters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you got much out of it as I have. And thank you. That's what I can say is thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye for now.
What time is the drumming session tomorrow?
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Where is it, please?
Who's asking? Who wasn't listening?
Oh, my name Jen. Sorry.
Okay.
Is it somewhere?
It's Oxley Woods, which is in Woolwich, which is Crown Woods Lane, SE18.
Crown Woods Lane, SE18.
Yeah, Crown Woods Lane, SE18 3JA.
3JA. Okay, 7 o'clock tomorrow. And can you get to play the drums even if you don't have any?
I think there will be drums available, yes.
Oh, that's nice. So it starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow?
Yeah, get there early.
Yeah, I will. I'll try to. SC18 37A. 3JA.
3JA.
Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Can you wear something warm because it gets cold in the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring a mat, something to sit on. There'll be food, music, storytelling. It'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Under the
bonfire.
Under the stars.
Good night, all.
Okay, so I've got the postcode, and can I take the name of the road very quickly? Sorry.
Crown Woods Lane.
Crown Woods Lane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Oxley Woods.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you all.
Don't
Good
forget
night.
quickly
Good night.
chat. You can quickly save your chat before we get locked off.
How do I save it?
You're going to tell people that it's going to be on YouTube.
The 3 dots by the file, by where it says file.
Oh.
Okay. And also there's a download for the mango tree information as well to download quickly to your devices.
Mine doesn't say save. It says chat, raise hand.
You'll be back next week, right?
Might not.
Yes?
Yeah. It doesn't say save. No worries. Good
Come
night.
back next week. Okay. Bye.
Good night all.
Good night.